Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and tonight we'll be broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot, and so much more. Want to welcome everybody in tonight, after hours on a Sunday. This is going to be a great show. I mean, we have in the back a beloved personality here at Spaced Out Radio. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really good to be able to kind of pick the brain of the man, right? The man who says very few words, right? Is how we pretty much know this gentleman. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least. I can't wait to get into that. But what I would like to do is go ahead and welcome everyone in first. Let's see who has the medal positions tonight. And it appears that gold is going to Mothman. The silver goes to Jessica S. And bronze is going to go to Race Fan. Yes. Congratulations, you guys. Appreciate you coming on in tonight. Let's see who else has decided to join us. And see Dirty Filth on the hot seat, man. You know what I mean? But I think it's going to be awesome here. And let's see who we have. We have Flaming Daisies saying, I'm way too hot to handle with the winky eye. Thank you so much for coming on in, Flaming Daisies. Like I said before, Race Fan saying, good evening, Rob. Appreciate you coming in, Race Fan. Let's see. We have SJ. Thank you so much for coming on in tonight. We appreciate you showing up. Who else do we have? Deb from Sacramento saying, yo, y'all. Appreciate you coming on in, Deb from Sac. Let's see. Tomothman, good evening, Woo Tribe. Appreciate you, Tomothman. Race Fan saying, if you're not in a good spot to see the eclipse tomorrow, go to the Griffith Park Observatory website. They will be showing a live stream from Texas. Awesome information. Appreciate that, Race Fan, because I'm way over here in California, so we're only going to get like 60% eclipse here. So it's good to know. You can go right on to the Griffith Park Observatory's website. Great information. Appreciate it. Let's see. Who else do we have in here tonight? We have Big Dog 5758 saying, "Love me some cartoons." And, I think it goes deeper than that, truthfully. And I think we'll end up talking about that tonight because I think it's definitely deeper than cartoons here. And appreciate you coming in, Big Dog. Who else do we have? We have Margaret Oliver saying, "Greetings, greetings," right back to you, Margaret. Thanks for coming on in. Let's see. Roger Murray dropping some jewels, showing us tomorrow's solar eclipse. Devil Comet will be visible during the eclipse of the sun passing by Earth again, April 21st, 2024. Great information. Not familiar with the Devil Comet, but something I could definitely look into, see what we can figure out there. Thanks for the data, though, Roger Murray, always giving us some information here. Useful information. Sandra Heath saying hello, all. Thanks for coming on in, Sandra. We got Carl Bittner saying, "Hey there, Rob G, Dirty Filth, and all of you spacey after hours spaced out peeps." Appreciate you coming on in, Carl Bittner. Let's see, who else do we got coming on in? We have Christine saying, "Hi, people." Hi, right back to you, Christine. Thanks for showing up tonight on this fantastic Sunday evening. What a wonderful way to close out the weekend and get ready for this week ahead. Let's see, we got Julie Farrell. "Curtsies demurely in Filthy's direction. Hi, everyone. Just got to lurk and listen tonight. Glad I am able. Weekends be crazy." Definitely, totally glad that you're here, Julie Farrell. Thanks for coming on in. And let's see, who else do we got here? We got Ginger Turtle 43. "What up, Robin? Everyone, happy Sunday to you all." Happy Sunday right back to you, Ginger Turtle. Hopefully we can get you eased right into this work week here. It's going to be another great one. We're going to always put the energy out every Sunday for you to have a fantastic upcoming week. So there it is. Let's see, who else do we have? We got Paula Faust saying hello with the alien head emoji and the Spock emoji. Thanks for coming in, Paula Faust. We appreciate you. Sandra Heath saying hi, Julie Farrell. Thank you for coming in, Sandra. Let's see, Eternity Eternal coming on in saying hi, Rob G. Hi, Eternity Eternal. Thanks for showing up tonight. We got Dragonfly saying, "Evening race fans." Thanks for coming on in, Dragonfly. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Wildberry Candy Co. "Good evening, loves." Appreciate you coming on in, Wildberry Candy Co. Thanks for showing up tonight. Let's see. Christine says, "Will we see a cat tonight? You never know." Yeah, you never know. You never know. Let's see. Who else do we have? We got Kurt M saying hi, all. Hello, Kurt M. Thanks for coming on in tonight. Got Doug Shelby. "Hey, y'all. I shifted gears from Cryptid Huntress Jessica and now in this gear." Awesome. Awesome. Shout out to the Cryptid Huntress Jessica Jones. Everybody who's just come over from that show to join us here tonight. I do appreciate you. And let's see. Who else do we have? The Ferret. The Ferret saying, "Hey, all. Thank you for coming on in, The Ferret." We got Foxy Joe saying, "Mr. Rob." Hey, Foxy Joe. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing on up. Brown Dwarf has stepped in the building saying, "Good evening, good evening." Right back to you, Brown Dwarf. Thanks for coming on in. Christine Lynn saying, "Hi, Rob." Hi, Christine. Hey, right back to you. Who else do we have? Appreciate you coming in. We got Jennifer with the wavy hand. Hello. I'll give you a wavy hand right back. Jennifer, SOR, hello. Appreciate you coming on in. Let's see. Presidential Zaddy coming on in saying, "Salute, F you, Dave," in chat. I think Dave might be watching tonight too, so maybe he'll jump in and join the conversation. Let's see. Thanks for coming on in, Zaddy. We got Toe Tag coming on in saying, "Woo woo, SOR fam." Yep, thanks for coming on in, Toe Tag. We appreciate you showing up. Who else do we got down here? Down the list. Yes, we do have Castle Dude in the building saying Rob G rules. Appreciate you, Castle Dude. The alien head emoji and the keep it up emoji, I guess, or the rock, right? Is that the rock? It's one of the two. Appreciate you coming on in, Castle Dude. Um, Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Hey, Rob G. Corey Rhodes finished his story and is Universal Champion. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. I should know this name, right? I should. I'm going to have to look into that, Cosmic Joe. Appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Here I am. Has shown up tonight. Saying hello all again. An amazing Rob G at Space Out Radio. Woohoo. Thanks for coming on in tonight, Kira. We have the filthiest of the filthy joining us tonight. So should be awesome. Let's see. Who else do we have? Yep, Paranormal Pixie Laura stepped on in saying hello, everyone. Hello right back to you. Pixie, let's see. Down the list. We are almost there. There he is. Area 51 sighting. Ha ha ha. I thought you were interviewing Voldemort. The kid stopped laughing. Area 51 in the building. We are bringing the heat tonight, buddy. No sleep. So don't sleep on it, Area 51. Appreciate you coming on in. Let's see. Okay. This person, Zaxi Ziaxo. That's just what I'm going to call you. Appreciate you coming on in. You got the 8-ball cube here. Appreciate you coming in. President Zaddy says, salute Rob G. Bandana. Yep, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Trying to get with the SOR color scheme tonight. Let's see. Who else do we have? Who else do we have? I think we're almost there. Oh, Deidre C. Deidre C, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. Bob Birkins says, I'm here. We appreciate you showing up, Bob Birkins. Filthy's in the back saying, I am sweating. Nothing to sweat. Filth is going down. We're going to have a great conversation. We're just going to chat. We're going to have a great conversation. And let's see. Puck Elf has stepped in the building. Thank Puck Elf. Thank you for coming on in. Let's see. Almost there. I think we got, okay, Rafin. Thank you for coming on in, Rafin. Appreciate you showing up. We got Susan Place. Thanks for showing up, Susan. Let's see. Aloha, Dave. Saludo a todo de Mexico. Thank you, Dave, for coming on in and keeping us bilingual. Appreciate you. Richard Hauser. Thank you for coming on in. And yes, we are pretty much there. Lex Diaz. Yo, Mr. Rob G. Thank you for coming in, Lex Diaz. River Morris. Seems like a new name. If so, definitely want to welcome you to Spaced Out Radio. It goes down here 7 days a week. On the weekend, you get me Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. Pacific till 11. And then you get Jessica Jones on Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific to 8. And you got Dave Scott running the Wu Train Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight. So 7 days a week. You got something going on here, Spaced Out Radio. So love to see you back. Appreciate you showing up. And who else do we have here? Puck Elf. Give it up to Super Sticker early. Appreciate you, Puck Elf. Thanks for your support of Spaced Out Radio. And we are almost there, guys. Okay. Oh, JSCO77. Thank you for coming on in. Thank you for coming in. And yeah, we're looking good. Dev from Sax says abduct that like button. I like that. Let's definitely make sure that we get the like button hit tonight, if you wouldn't mind. Totally would appreciate that. We do have W. Decker in the building as well. W. Decker, thanks for showing up with us tonight. CS, thank you for coming on in. All right, we are all caught up. So, with that being said, definitely want to thank, Van Gogh, can't forget you. Dr. Love and has stepped in. And we have also Candy Wolf. But there she is, Van Gogh, Dr. Love. Thank you for coming on in. And Filthy says, pin that like button like you won the championship. Let's go ahead and do that. Rose Brooks, thank you for coming in. At the buzzer, Bim Jim, appreciate you coming in. And here we go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and talk behind the scenes with our guests today. And this has been over some time. I know I offered, months back to try to get the guy on the show, and he considered it. He was considering it. He was in a place where didn't really know which way he was gonna go. And then more recently, we got into conversing again about the subject, and he was fully ready to go. So we went ahead and confirmed the date, booked it in, set it up, and found I think we could really talk about a great topic today when we talk about art as a reflection of life. We'll see where this goes. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the man of the night. Everybody knows him. You at least know his hands. Ladies and gentlemen, Filth. Dirty Filth. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Robert.
Yes. Dirty Filth. The man with the plan. So, Phil, the reason why, we talked about getting you on there, and we talked about how art, and the way I feel about art is it is able to relay a message without words, right? So you have some people out there that don't have a voice, and they express themselves through things like art. I'm an artist myself. What I would like to do, Filth, is learn a little something about Filth. So going back to Filth as a child, did Filth ever run into anything paranormal, any UFOs, or what was your experience as a child? Kind of what got you into art, period, if you wouldn't mind starting there.
Well, I'm gonna try to take a deep breath for this.
Yeah, take your time.
I've drawn cartoons ever since I picked up a pencil, just kind of scribbled and slightly creative with everything. And I think the time I actually got into UFOs and aliens and Bigfoot and whatnot, in my school that I went to, they had a primitive computer system, and it was really interesting. Um, Simple, type in a key, command, whatever, a name or word. I'd love to met the guy who ended up like coding the entire thing. Anyways, I'm already going off on tangents, so I apologize, but
You're good.
you signed up for it, Rob, so
We love it.
Here we
We
go.
love it. Let's go.
I have a sip of my tea.
I'll have a sip of my coffee right with you.
Nonetheless, basically, try to give a Reader's Digest version of this. When I was a kid, everybody was reading about magic school buses and great big red dogs, and I read about Sasquatch and ghosts because the school I went to had books about that stuff. And I remember reading about, I think it was Colorado, where there Sasquatches that people were trapped inside a house and they were throwing rocks at them for a couple of days. I believe there's an incident of some sort. I can't quite remember right now. I didn't write any notes because I'm terrible, but I'm not really a historian, so I don't have those notes handy. Nonetheless, that kind of stuff interested me, and I just always kind of drew aliens and watching Unsolved Mysteries, X-Files, all that stuff growing up, and just kind of keeping up with a little bit of UFO stuff that I could find. I just kind of stuck with it, and it's always been kind of a thing. I used to always draw like different. I would draw cartoons of different types of aliens, like reptiles and all this stuff, and I just kind of made up. It's like, well, why wouldn't there be like a giant bee or something? And I made up that sort of stuff, and it's just kind of strange now that people go, well, there's reptilians and mantids and all these weird things. And as far as I know, I've never had any weird experiences with reptiles or mantids or anything. But you never know. They always got those like, pardon me, they always got those little laser beam things that they zap your mind with or whatever.
Yeah,
You know.
right, right.
Nonetheless, where was I here? So that, yeah, that's basically it. I grew up with the fascination of ghosts and everything, and it just kind of bled into my artwork, which I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I had to create my own friends and, you know, sit around, draw cartoons all day, and then write stories about the characters that you draw. Why not put an interesting thing? And then that leads into writing as well. And, you know, a lot of times people that are writers are also artists, and a lot of times the people that draw stuff are also writers. They, you know, you're a writer if you write things. You don't have to have a novel or a 15 book series of some sort be published and butchered by Hollywood to become a writer or anything like that. And yeah, anyways, I'm rambling away here. Got off on about a
Yeah,
thousand
no,
tangents there, but
you're good. We love the tangents. The tangents is part of this conversation. So let me ask you this, Phil. Before you started actually drawing ETs, Bigfoots, things of that nature, were you focused? Were you drawing like some of the popular cartoons? 'Cause I know when I was growing up, some kids I knew that could really draw were drawing like Flintstones and things of that nature. Bart Simpson. Were you doing that as well, or did you not focus on that?
actually, no. When I grew up, as you know, everybody's reading Spider-Man and Batman and everything, I read a lot of Dark Horse comics, and I was around when Spawn came out, and they were just
Mm-hmm.
more darker comics. So I read like Grendel and, you know, Fabulous Freak Brothers and things like that. Stuff I probably shouldn't have read when I was a wee lad, but that really turned me on to, like, you know, cartoons don't have to be this, or comics and cartoons don't have to be this. It doesn't have to be Marvel or DC type thing, and I was interested in that. But no, when I started drawing cartoons and comics because of the stuff I was reading, I, you know, I'm 12, 13 years old, and I'm writing stuff about like futuristic, or I was drawing cartoons about futuristic like gangsters and all this weird stuff and lasers and drawing boobies and things like that, you know, stuff that
Mm-hmm.
was cool because Marvel never had that. They didn't have the, you know, punch him and it was a zonk, or that was more DC Batman stuff. But the more adult, gritty, dirty stuff, and then once I discovered heavy metal, that was the end of ever looking back at even like Dark Horse and everything, because Heavy Metal Magazine, one of the greatest magazines ever made, at least in my opinion. But I drink the pickle juice usually before I finish the pickles, so you can take my opinion for a grain of salt or a jug of pickle juice. But um, Heavy Metal Magazine is what really got me into more more than just superheroes, and I was exposed to a lot of different types of styles of art. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, it did actually, and because myself and I've always been in the artistic lane. I know when I was a kid, and I don't know if it was me searching. I was never a great artist, and I'm still not to this day. I can draw side profile people and things like that. I can draw fairly decent 3D anime, 3D versions of people. But I tried to do a comic book club when I was in elementary school, and we would, about four of us, we would sit down and we would base it off of characters that were already out there, but we would create these comic books. So I know, and plus I'm a musician myself, so I've written music, I've produced music myself, and I know how it is and what it really means for a person to be able to translate something that is an idea and get it into the physical world. So that's why I'm always in awe with what you do, because you are able to tell a story like we can see here with the image on screen. You have this comic here. You usually do for those who may not know, Filth does art on the show, usually on the weekdays, and is able to complete a full piece of art by the end of every show. So being under a clock, for one, to get this thing done, and then for two, to be able to relay a message within that art, that's what most impresses me about what it is that you do, and where I felt like we could definitely have an incredible conversation. I want to know for you, is that how you approached it? So when you started drawing ETs and cryptids, were these based off of experiences you were having, or were you just creating these uh, situations that you end up drawing?
All of the all the aliens and spaced out radio weirdness that I've drawn, I actually, I guess I can tell you the story if I got involved with it.
Yeah, sure.
We got plenty of time here, and
Let's
I can
go.
make a long-winded thing. And anyways, uh, it was the early summer of 2000, I think 18 or 19, and I contacted Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I had a drawing that I had sitting around, and I was where I was working at the time. I was just listening to old uh, Jimmy Church, Coast to Coast, all that stuff, and I was on a Super Soldier binge, and then there was one that was like, oh, Randy Kramer with Dave Scott on SOR. I'm like, I was like, Dave Scott. I'm like, guy's got two first names. I was like, who's this guy with his two first names? And it was like Canadian podcast. I'm like, oh, okay. So I like go ahead and listen to it, and it's like, wow, this is really cool. And he had Randy Kramer on there, and I was listening to a bunch of Randy Kramer stuff. And yeah, I was like, wow, it's good. And then I was like, holy crap, he's got about 10,000 episodes, maybe, you know, metric episodes, so it's a little less in Canadian. Anyway, so I listened to that, and then I subscribed to the channel, and I was listening to it, and then I had a drawing that I did of the S4 sport model that Bob Zard described, and I messaged Dave. I was like, hey, do you want this drawing? And I figured maybe I'll get him a drawing. He'll put it on his page and, you know, share it with people. And why the hell not? I like aliens and junk, and, you know, Canadian guy, even cooler. And he goes, you'd really give that to me? And I go, did Bob Bigelow own Skinwalker Ranch? And he's like, oh, right on. And then basically that was the second we became friends.
Wow.
And then I just kind of, I was originally drawing a cartoon once a week for Spaced Out Radio. And then a good friend of ours had suggested, Nicole Sakic was like, hey, why don't you just draw on the show? And I was all sweaty about it, and I didn't really think I could probably do it. And it was really weird. And the next thing I knew, I was just drawing cartoons every single day since, I don't know, 2022 or something. Well, not every single day. I usually go do life drawings on Fridays because it helps with the stuff. And I had a world famous psychic suggest that I do that. John Russell tells you should probably go do life drawings. You listen to John Russell. So
Yeah, I agree. I
hey,
agree. I had the
rambling away,
pleasure of
and that was,
talking to him.
yeah, he's a good guy. So
Yeah,
that's
so Phil, so let me so do you, you know, I know you hear you get accolades for the work that you do, and everybody says, "Hey, great artwork." I've seen some people that couldn't wrap their mind around what they were seeing, and some people who may have been fresh to the show come in like, "Hey, why is this guy drawing, or what is this all about?" Do you end up feeling the love and the appreciation for, you know, how it ends up being perceived on the end? Because for me, like I said, I'm a artistic person, so when I look at it, I can get the full appreciation of what it is that you're going through when you do it, and what you get with the end result. I'm always impressed with everyone that you do. Do you feel that love, or is it more so I'm just doing another drawing and moving on to the next?
once I start drawing, I just get into this zone. I can't explain it. It's a trance of some sort, and it's you can, you know, people are. This is where like here's my little start of the woo and whatever. But people always, you, when I start drawing, I basically go into a trance, and I have no better way to explain it. I'm not like zombied out trance. It's just that my mind becomes. It's how I've learned to draw and do what I do with my art over. Boy, I don't even, a good solid 25 plus years of condensing how I want to do my art. And I straight up just go into a trance. That's the best way to explain it. The zone, I guess, whatever the code word is that people, cool word people use now, but that's what I do. And then sometimes it's weird because I'll be painting and drawing and I don't even realize that I'm doing this. It just spills out of me. And that's kind of how it works. And I try to look at the chat and everything, and I'd like to sit there and ramble with everybody. I'm pretty good at rambling away, but once I get drawing, I just go into a trance, and that's it. That's the best way to explain it. I'm not trying to
Yeah, no,
see
no,
the
that's a
trance.
great
Just sounds
explanation.
weird. Like, I mean,
No, it
there's
makes
no
sense
terrible
though.
'90s music playing in the background. So
No, I can get what you mean. You zone out, you go into this zone and then it just flows. And so that you kind of answered the next question I had. You said you take about 20 minutes to kind of formulate which direction you might go. So it isn't like it's just on the fly. You kind of have an idea of what it is that you want, which makes that even more beautiful because, like I say, it for someone who isn't a creative or who doesn't create things on their own, and I might have a hard way of saying that, a hard time trying to get that across, but it's to be able to grab something out of your mental and then have that come through your fingers and then manifest itself physically. Just that whole process it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that, like you said, you go into a trance or you go into this zone and then it kind of just happens. But I just want to make sure, and the reason why I felt was so important to do this is that you definitely get your flowers on this because I know, when I first came around Spaced Out Radio, when I first found it, and I would see the artwork and I'll be like, oh, that's some cool stuff. And I didn't know if this was just you coming on this one time and then after time I started realizing, okay, this is a regular thing that he's doing on this show. And then I would pretty much zone in on the message that, so it's more than just some characters on a page. There's always a deeper meaning or message behind the one picture that you've drawn. And that for someone to be able to do that, you know what I mean? The ability that you're tapping into is just pretty deep and it's pretty awesome. So I just want to make sure that you know that in case anyone hasn't made you aware of that, but I can appreciate it.
I definitely appreciate the kind words. I never take compliments very well. It's terrible, but
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
but
I'm the
you
same
know,
way, but you got to get your flowers, man.
I actually I get flowers almost weekly. Anyways, it's not important. Uh, the uh, the thing about like doing the cartoons and trying to just get a little message across is I just try to picture something that's happening in the cryptid UFO world, whatever, or something. I just try to. Sorry, I live in Edmonton. We're always having ambulances and fire trucks and stuff. I just try to make like a little bit of a joke about what's going on currently, and I try to make the UFO world in a little bit of a happier light because everybody's always grumpy pants about this and that, and even the cryptid world's pretty rowdy sometimes. So that's why I try to make everything a little lighthearted, and I try to cram as much things into the drawing as possible.
So, who inspires you then? When you look at art, what artists inspired you? What type of artists to kind of get an idea of who you emulate yourself after?
Well, my absolute favorite artist in the entire world is Milo Manara. He's I originally found him and his watercolors in Heavy Metal magazine, and originally his stories were pretty smutty, and 16 years old and you've seen all these boobies and everything. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. Heavy metal magazine. And then also after just being an artist and enjoying art and all types of things, reading stuff from Garfield to Palladium and Riffs and Dungeons and Dragons magazines and all the old artwork, uh, I eventually appreciated Milo Manara's work. I have 4 of his posters around me. He's my biggest influence on watercolor and my favorite artist. Also, Ralph Bakshi, Ralph Steadman. Uh, People don't like him, but John Kersfalushi, the Ren and Stimpy guy. Um, that's Simon Bisley's always good. Clyde Caldwell. I don't know. I'm not here to spit out names people to check out stuff, but definitely Milo Manara is my favorite. I don't know Italian, but I'd like to meet the guy. I don't know what I would do. I just give a thumbs
Yeah,
up or
so
something.
this
I'm
is
pretty humble.
Milo Manara, some of the artwork that Milo
Yeah, I
Manara
got that
actually
poster.
does. Yeah. So you can kind of I can see that. I can see the way that he uses watercolors. I can see where your inspiration has come from that. Definitely. So I mean that's
Also,
cool. Yeah, go ahead.
uh, Mad and Cracked magazine, big influences when I was a kid. Sergio, I'm going to butcher this because I don't know Spanish. Sergio Aragones. Oh, it's probably bad, but the guy that used to do the uh, a mad look at whatever. I always appreciated how fast he would draw his stuff. I, if I remember correctly, I think he was from Cuba. I'm just saying that if I'm wrong, please feel good to, you know. Nonetheless, though, apparently when he moved to the States, he made money by drawing quick cartoons on the beach, and I've always appreciated that. He just draw a quick cartoon. It gets the point and the image across, the whole story and everything. The faster you can do that, that's kind of what influenced me with how I kind of draw my artwork real quick. It's just a, and on top of that, it's also because, or actually, I've got a, I really love doing comics. That's what I originally did. The When I was talking about the comics earlier about the Browdy comics, it was one. It was called uh, War 3 or something. It was just terrible. It was just like rocket launchers and blood and guts and like just silly stuff, right? You're 12, 13 years old. What else do you want? It's just you see
Exactly.
cartoons like Predators and anyway, that's kind of where that came from. Anyways, I apologize. I'm going off another tangent. Gotta stop here.
Yeah, you're good to go, man. You're good to go. So I really want to figure out. So like when you sit down for these, I know. So you get your finished result, and I just want to see like, do these go to the drawer, or where do these go when you're done? Or these, or because obviously for me, I feel that there's value to each one of these that you do. So I've heard you say that you've put together some books and things of that nature. What do you have out that displays some of this artwork? I guess so that way we can let people know what you have.
I have currently done 3 calendars, one novel, well, a book. It's not really a novel. There's no story really to it. It's just an art book. I'm currently working on my second book, and on top of that, I'm also working on my fourth calendar because that one's a little easier to do. The book is a little more difficult because I decided to add more writing. If you own my first book, there's mostly cartoons, less writing, and some of the I had a couple people ask me, none of these drawings make any sense. What the hell are they about? And well, if you weren't watching the show at the time
Right.
and you didn't get the reference, it doesn't make sense. Or if you don't know anything about UFOs or aliens or whatever, if you're into that stuff, it's hard. But all my drawings currently go onto my shelf. You can't see it; it's too dark, and they sit in a giant pile. I eventually scan them. I have a web witch, uh, one of my best pals in the world, and that's how my stuff gets taken care of. Uh, I leave it in their capable hands. So
So what we'll do, because I know you have some UFO things that we can end up looking at a little bit later today. So, and I was going to ask you that, and you actually kind of answered that with the last thing you said, where you get the, you are there times where where what you put together with your art does it reflect what the conversation is of the current show? And I guess you answered that. So, what other outlets do you well, let me ask you this. Let me go back. So when it comes to putting together like a full length comic, just one full story, or maybe a few stories broken down, is that something you're open to do, or have you done that before?
I've got a couple lined up. I've done a couple I'm trying to show the like paper in front of me, but it's actually staring at my face, not the paper. Terrible. Um, no, I've got a couple short comics I've done. I'm currently working on a short comic about three gray aliens trying to take a picture of a Sasquatch. I believe I explained the premise of it with Debs. I believe it was last Tuesday, I think. Anyway, uh, got a couple extra short little comics and whatnot, but all the ideas that I've gotten mostly have been just taking what's happened on UFO X, formerly Twitter, all this other weird stuff, books, TV shows, all that stuff. I do a lot of every time the Skinwalker Ranch guys do a season, I draw a whole bunch of cartoons based off of that. And I'm pretty sure Brandon Fugel has a small office somewhere just full of the cartoons that I've sent the guys. So uh, everything that I can find that is UFO cryptid related, I try to take that out of just reading posts on Facebook, X, Instagram, all that stuff. I try to take that, and that's what I use for my influence. And then I have my characters that I've sort of developed over the time. It's no longer just generic gray aliens or Sasquatches or whatever. They've all kind of got a little bit of a personality and everything.
Hmm. So, what is your? Because we never really get to talk to you about. I mean, there's always the conversations that are happening while you're drawing, but we never really get to get your input on like the current state of ufology. Like, where do you stand in this whole thing? Like, I don't think anyone really knows where you stand. Like, what do you feel like is going on? Obviously, something's going on. What do you think is going on? What do you think the long term goal is for these ETs? And kind of let's just get an idea of where you stand with the whole phenomenon.
I'm not sure if they'll ever just have a UFOs come down and land and tell everybody everything. They might have a something, we've contact. I just really don't think there's going to be that so-called catastrophic disclosure, which they should just do. Just dump it right out. Just walk right into the living room with the bucket of cryptids and all consciousness, ghosts, everything. Because you can't tell me all these government folks and people they don't have like a giant bucket of stuff that nobody should, a Pandora's box, if you will. They should just walk into the living room, dump it out. You know, uh, you know what? Maybe the problem is some people might not be ready because maybe someone's either beliefs, religions, the way that they expect things to happen may not be the truth or whatever the truth is. Maybe we can't handle the truth, like Jack Nicholson yelling at us. I mean, I don't think it'll ever happen, but for me, it's it seems to be something that how the best can I explain this? The phenomena itself can probably affect you without you knowing, and you may not be able to connect with it if you. It's it's hard to explain it. The phenomena is definitely something that is there because there's no way that so many people have experienced
Exactly.
ex, similar experiences. I'm not too much of a wordsmith, but at the same time, nobody, when you get somebody that hasn't experienced, never had it, they've always been a solid, down to earth, uh, black and white, green and red type guy. And then when they have something strange happen and it blows their mind, you can't discredit that person. And at the same time, when people have had this same instances happen their entire life, uh, the, that's just what they know. So you can't. No experience is typical. So I guess that's the best way I can explain it. No experience is typical. I've had weird things happen to me. I couldn't uh, easily explain them, or just like Mick West explain them, or all these other guys explain who, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, hairdo Stomponopolis guy, it was aliens, right? I can't say, because I don't have another experience similar to that to gauge it upon, if that makes any sense. And, some person has one strange experience that happens to them, and people know what happens to them. Once you get over about 30 years old, you're generally just kind of floating through the waters of life, and how your body and mind generally works, unless you've, I don't know, eaten a mountain of like glass or something. I don't know. People generally know what happens to them. And so when someone has a strange experience and they've always never believed in it and it always bugs them, you have to take that person and their experience at their word. And so, it happens to, let's say there's 5,000 people, happens to 400 of them. Those people experience something. So you can't discredit them. And I'm kind of going off again here on a ramble tangent, but that's what we're here for. And
Speaking your mind, exactly. That's exactly why we have
I,
ears. We want to know how you think about this.
but I'm not a expert or a writer or a theologian or a historian or anything like that. It's and I just, I guess I just draw cartoons and I hang out here and people kind of appreciate maybe what I say, but you should also appreciate what other people have to say, not just me or
Exactly.
Joe Schmo in the chat room or whatever. Those people have the same amount of voice as everybody else, and we're always looking to the government to what is your do we got UFOs? The government's like, come back in 6 months. We got like 40 whistleblowers or something. I don't know. Like, and everyone goes, oh well, do we get any whistleblowers or more UFO stuff? Well, Jeremy Cordell and George Knapp haven't released anything else, and everyone goes, okay, well, we don't have any more information. But they're missing the big thing, is it's the people that actually experience it. But then when the people bring evidence of what they experienced, let's just say you live in a home and you have cameras set up and you capture strange orbs or something, or your bugs or something. You film this stuff, you share it with people. They go, well, it's not the truth. You're making it up. It's fake. Well, you think the government's really going to tell you that they got UFOs? And I don't know. I mean, maybe
No,
we
you're
should have
right.
just raided Area 51. I mean,
No, like you
just bring all
said,
the nerds there. It's too late. We can't time travel. So, well, you can time travel if you go to sleep. It seems to go pretty quick. But, anyways,
they think we can't
next
handle
question.
the truth. Right? They think we
Yeah,
can't
there you
handle the
go.
truth, or
There
leave
you
it
go.
up to what they say. So what I'll say about that is or ask you next is so what do you feel? Obviously, we see how you feel. These things are definitely real. They're here, but what do you think? Do you think interdimensional? Do you think they're from another planet? Like, what side do you roll with when it comes to where they might be coming from?
To be honest, I would say this is just me, in my own opinion, is they're probably they probably take a long time to get to places, and maybe they have a lot of experience doing this, millions more years, maybe. We're excuse me, we only flew airplanes in the 1900s, so
Yes.
think
Because I
about give
say this
them
all the
a
time.
1,000 years or so. I mean, we flew in the early 1900s, and then we had before 1950 we had jet powered aircraft, the Me-262. If Jim Goodall's listening, you know it, buddy. My favorite airplane. Anyways, they went from a cruddy little thing like that to a jet powered propulsion aircraft. So I think maybe it takes a little bit longer. I don't believe this. Like I said, it's just me. I don't have any scientific background or anything. I watch
Right.
science fiction films and junk, but I mean, maybe we got a little bit of something that can get us going a little further. But if if these beings come from different places, they may have their own technologies, and each of them would probably be different. But I don't think that they have a instant teleportation. I'm probably wrong. CIA guys listening are probably chuckling at me, but whatever. That's just my opinion, and that's kind of
That
pertaining to the art. That's how I built it, and with going back to the art stuff, my gray aliens, they predominantly use a diesel powered aircraft because I've always thought it would be hilarious if there was a science fiction series where humans ended up using diesel powered aircraft or spacecraft, and they'd have to get the motor pull thing, like you got to load up your lawnmower or something. That's just the hilarity of it. So yes, to answer your question, without going off a tangent about cartoons and aliens and lawnmower motors, was that I would think that there are different levels of beings that could possibly show up here. I mean, nobody stares at the sky anymore. Not very many people. Everybody's staring at their phone. And then anybody that's staring at the sky shares what they share. And all the people staring at their phone go, well, that's BS because he's obviously he's AI faking it, whatever Photoshop. But then all they're doing is staring at their phone. They don't actually look up to see anything. So
right.
uh, my
Exactly.
my my thoughts are they're probably different species. They probably have different technologies. We could never understand it.
Yeah, because I'm under the way I feel about the and like you said, it's depicted in the artwork. And now that you said it and kind of shown that, you do show physical craft, and I am definitely under the idea that it just makes sense. Like, why else would ETs be in a craft unless they were traveling in a craft? As far as our relationship to our craft, we get inside of them and then we traverse from one place to the next in those crafts. So you would feel like that these ETs are doing the same thing, the ones that are in physical craft, and they've just figured out some way to traverse at faster than light speed, is what makes sense. I mean, they could be coming through portals, but you have to ask yourself, or wormholes, and but these things always appear in the sky. Like, why anytime we see these things, we're seeing them in the sky? When they're coming in, we see them coming in from above. So for me, that feels like they're traveling from one place to another. But I just don't know how I really feel about the whole portal or the time travel aspect. And that's why I ask, because some people feel like they're interdimensional, they just step in from another dimension, and some people feel like they go from this planet to the next and they travel in that fashion. And I just feel like it's more plausible for that to be the case because they're in vehicles. So if they're in a vehicle, chances are they travel in that vehicle from one place to another. And then the other thing that makes me feel that way is that the speeds that they get recorded going at, there would be no reason for these things to travel at Mach 20 or Mach 30 if they weren't traveling from one point to the next. Like, it wouldn't make sense. So I think there's a lot of evidence there that shows that chances are these things travel, in the sense that we would think of travel, getting in a vehicle and going from one place to the next. So I don't know how you feel about that, but that has been my outlook on these ETs, and I'm kind of trying to open myself up to the other side of it, but I just don't see enough evidence for that. I just don't.
Well, even if you're, I mean, we got plenty of airplanes. What are the Fs or the 787s, whatever the stupid, they got all these doors blowing off them all the time or whatever. Like, humans are pretty good at what they do. We can go to space, but we also suck at flying on our own planet or even driving on our own planet. I mean, trust me, if you spent 20 minutes to Edmonton, you'd never drive again. You're like, no, I'm done. You just like, you can't rip driver's license anymore. But anyways, who says that just because aliens can travel across vast distances that they can't crap the bed as well?
Right.
I, they're human or whatever their expression is. Who knows? They're just doing their best too. You don't think that those guys are basically the same as us, just trying to figure out something? Because eventually, in the end, who knows? Who says that because all the big brains on Earth, you look at that Carl Sagan picture when he looks back and he looks at Earth and it's a little
The blue
speck
dot.
of dust, whatever his
Yeah.
fancy quote was, the
The pale blue
speck
dot,
of dust
right?
in a moonbeam or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's where every king and god and everyone's there, and it's just a little speck. I mean, how many other planets have done the same thing? So why wouldn't they crash a UFO once in a while? Then they go, well, all the UFO crashes aren't the same. Well, of course they're not. You think when the rednecks from Alabama crashed their snowboard on the hill somewhere that the Jamaican bobsled team, I'm just throwing garbage around here, but they're going to crash too. Everyone's going to crap the bed. Aliens aren't perfect. Humans aren't perfect. Nothing can be perfect except for Mr. Perfect. But other than that, I mean, definitely they would crash their stuff. Maybe the Tic Tacs little drones they send in, and I don't know. Maybe they live under the earth. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm
They
under that
they
theory. I'm under that theory too. I feel like what they're doing, because I'll tell you, I haven't seen. Well, I think I have, but I can't say for sure. I won't give it 100%. But you see, a lot of photos. A lot of people have those regular disc shaped craft, and in other cases, in more than like in other. Okay, I sound a little muffled. Let me go up a little bit. Okay, but in more so than not, you'll see these orbs in the sky, and I feel like those orbs are little drones or little probes that are sent out by these bigger ships. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Maybe there's some really small aliens inside of these little spheres that we're seeing. I don't think it's likely. I think that those are being controlled by something, one of these bigger ships that are off planet or cloaked or whatever they might be. But the question ends up being for me, and where I'm at with it when I look at the phenomenon, is like, what are they doing? Like, if you had to guess before we go to break here, and we'll have a guest, a special guest that'll be coming in to join you in just a moment. But
Are
what
we
is
bringing
your
pizza?
outlook? What is your outlook on if these things, if these orbs are drones? What do you think the real purpose is for them appearing in the way that they do?
I'll do my best in 52 seconds here. I'm not too sure about them. I witnessed a couple videos. There was a guest on, bloody hells, I can't remember his name. Oh, it's blistering balls. Crap, I can't remember his name, but he had some interesting videos. He called them the San Diego Devils or something to that effect. Anyways, I've wasted 20 seconds here. Nonetheless, uh, you know what? We'll just wait till we get back because it's going to be long-winded because I got a lot of rambling to do here. Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so you heard it from Phil. We're gonna go ahead and put a pin in it. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to pause for the cause as we get ready to take our first break of the night. As we get it in here with Dirty Phil, you guys get your questions ready. We should have a long list of questions for Phil tonight. We also have a video I know that Filth has brought forward. We're going to take a look at, and we're going to just get into some more general conversation, kind of pick the brain of Dirty Filth tonight. So this is your chance to do it. Make sure you put them all in caps, and we'll be back with you guys in just a minute here. See you in a second. yes. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, and our fantastic guest, Dirty Filth, picking the mind of Dirty Filth here tonight. So your questions are going to be just as important to the conversation as everything. Anything you ever wanted to know about Filth within reason, go ahead and put it in the chat and make sure you put it in caps so we can go ahead and ask him that. Now, Filth, we had a special guest come in, somebody you're very familiar with, part of the SOR family as well. Is going to come on in and kind of hang out with us tonight and some other things. So, without further delay, let me go ahead and bring in the person joining us tonight. The other man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Travis Moostus, ladies and gentlemen. Travis, welcome to the show.
That's my dungeon master.
That's great. I love that. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. How's everybody doing?
Yes, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. So I understand you guys have a friendship, and Filth wanted to make sure that you were part of this conversation, Travis, and you were coming in for hour 3 as well. So we might as well just make this a thing. We were getting into, and technically, I mean, you get into it as well with the art, right? With the, telling a story through art. And I know, and I guess we could tie that into our indigenous family as well, because those stories get told through art as well. So what does that mean to you, Travis, kind of the ability to tell the story, using images?
Oh yes, the blessings, especially visions, and from them being art to translating into story and part of that, and becoming part of that, just reality and existence, and like it is a blessing in itself. Like I do mention it a few times, and at the end of my author notes for my books, I'll say thank you for this blessing of a story that I was able to bring forward, right? And a lot of times when I'm doing this, it is like it is a spiritual experience when you do take in those, especially with the legends. Like even what Dirty Filth is doing is that, in the sense, like when you take these these cryptid tales and these alien encounters, and you're doing these artist depictions of them and illustrations of them, and it's very honest to it, and like I said, it's on that level too. And for me, with when the painting happens and these things start to visualize and come through, and and it's like it's finding its way to manifest into our reality in beautiful ways, right? And it connects with those artists out there and people, and like I should say, people who are connecting on that level. And like it is a very intuitive experience, because time just flies by, and next thing you know, you look up and 8 hours has gone by and it's the next day.
Exactly.
So I'm like,
how do you feel about that, Phil? What do you feel about what he said?
It's that trance of artwork. It's just kind of, I mean, I guess it happens with being a writer, maybe. Excuse me. Maybe a writer. Anytime you dedicate a task, you're focused to something, and you can get into a trance. It's the best way to explain it is, if you get into a trance and you're focusing on something, all of your energy and everything around you you become a focal point to put that onto the paper, or the writing, whatever you do, or your gardening, anything like that. As far as I know from my experiences, and as I said, I'm not an expert or anything. I haven't deep dived into this stuff, but I feel as though if you can utilize being able to go into a trance and work on something, it puts your entire soul and everything into it. You can always tell the difference between someone who just does something and someone that puts their soul, so to speak, into what they're doing.
to I don't know if you view it like this, but the way I view it, and maybe this will kind of frame it the way that I want it to be framed, but the way I look at the artwork, so and that's why I'm keeping this up here on the screen. This mentally takes me back to or reminds me of is the stories that were told like through petroglyphs. Like when you go into the desert Southwest and you see these images that are just painted and drawn on rocks, and you're supposed to put the story together using the visual. And that's kind of like, for me, that's kind of like where the when I'm looking at your art, it kind of puts it on that level for me. So if we had a natural disaster happen and we lost language again, another great reset, and out of the dirt they dug up the dirty filth comic book, depicting all of these different situations, it would be the same sort of thing. It would be telling a story through images, which can stand, thousands and thousands of years. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like the value of being able to tell a story through art. It's on that level for me with the old petroglyphs and things that you find written on rocks. So I don't know if you get that value from it, but that's definitely how I feel about that. So
You can go first, Travis, on that one.
I was just gonna say that a lot of all right, so a lot of the traditional art that was done in original ceremonies and stuff was like it was done from say a guardian angel or guardians or guardian angels or higher beings or animal being guardians came through, and they had these connections with these individuals. They would end up painting them and honoring them, or so they can tell the story or share that being in the presence of their I should say like of their teepees, or of their sometimes it was on the horses or sometimes it was on shields, different things. But not only did we depict a lot of these spiritual tales and beings, like we also depicted a lot of like warning signs too, like you were saying there, Rob G. And, down south we have a place called the Writing on the Rock, and a lot of Crees used to do a lot of carvings on the rock there to depict a lot of like the enemies down to the south. So you'll actually see a lot of these guys with different shields and different kind of creatures and beings that are marked down to the south that were hostile. And this marked down like a lot of the Blackfoot shield styles and the different kind of weapons that a lot of different I should say different tribes used in Central America and North America kind of deal. And so yeah, it does leave behind these kind of I should say understandings and things to remember, to know like of the times, right? And but yeah, like, and then what you're saying too about like petroglyphs showing like teachings and that sort of thing, like when it comes to spirituality and like dimensional beings that you may encounter, and yeah, there's all that kind of stuff. It's all to be found there when it comes to petroglyphs and ancient markings and caves and whatnot.
yeah. So Phil, how do you feel about that? I mean, because when you look at those petroglyphs, those are if you're carving in stone, you don't. I don't think you really have a lot of chances to make mistakes. So it would seem to me that that in those times when someone is selected to do this artwork or leave this art on these rocks, that they're picking their best guy, like the person who could actually tell the story. Because for me, you could sit me and you down side by side and whisper in our ear the message that we want to get across and what we're about to draw, and mine's wouldn't be anywhere near yours. Yours would be crafted in a way where you are able to figure out how to tell that story through the picture that you're creating, but mine's wouldn't translate that well. So it just shows that in those times that they likely got their best art people on the case. And you would thinking about that, like you would be technically, if you were back in those times, probably selected to be one of the people who did left that sort of imagery on rocks. So like, have you ever thought about that? Because that really, like, I think frames the importance of what it is that you actually do.
Well, I probably couldn't swing a sword, so they'd probably set me up to be the historian or write the or draw the history of things. But definitely, why wouldn't you find the best person for the job? I mean, there's a million choices to pick. However, when you mention about that, I believe with my art, I try to just take a, as you said, like a petroglyph type thing, just one single, this one here. Well, I'm pointing at it. You can't see I'm pointing at it, but I'm pointing at it. This one is Carl Stanton and Alan, and they're having some wobblies and they're eating super hot wings. So if this was painted on the wall, I mean, who says there wasn't cartoonists back in the day? I mean, imagine if
Right.
all of the information in the world that actually stuck around was all just a bunch of hilarious cartoon cavemen back in the day, and they make all these silly things, and everyone goes, "Well, this must be this guy. This look at this cartoon alien guy breathing fire." They go, "Oh, geez, he's got a big head. He breathes fire. He must be some kind of fire breathing. He must be the top human of some sort or whatever." And then what's this weird box beside there? And all it is just my representation of. I don't think we're going to get sued or anything for it, but super ghouls and ghosts. That's why I just put Ghost Hunter, because I can't actually break that on there. Sorry, Dave, we get in trouble for that. Tell them to fax me their problem. Anyway, so you look at this and so go, oh, there's a bunch of, they must be at some high table of some sort. No, it's just a bunch of aliens that sit in the back of the space bar. They try to make a quick buck. They suck at making money, and it's just terrible. And that's where the entire comedy comes from. So I mean, if humans died and they dug up Weekly World News, the entire, like, they went to my mom's house and that was the last thing that was left, and they dug up the entire 67 boxes or whatever I have of Weekly World News, and aliens would go, holy crap, these are what these humans were experiencing. They're going to take that at face value. They don't have any way to think that was a joke, right? Just like, you say something on the internet and someone's like, blah, 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 because they're always crying. And you go, well, I was being sarcastic. They don't have a sarcastic font. You don't have a sarcastic drawing unless you understand the context of the drawing or if you've never, a lot of my, like I said previously, a lot of my drawings are based off stories from guests, specific instances on social media. If we died tomorrow and that's what the next civilization found, and they're going to take that as context, so they decide to make their gods after that or something, I'm not sure. Everything turns to ash. There's always a little bit left over, and the people that find the potsherds and the ash and all this stuff, they dig up old civilizations. I'd love to be an archaeologist or even an anthropologist, but they dig this stuff up and they do the best they can with what they got, and they have no context of what was. There's my super long-winded answer.
No, you're making an awesome point, because it's up to the interpretation of those who find it later, and then in some cases you have people who come out with different interpretations of what it is that they're seeing. So it's actually a great point, because then the question becomes, so when we look at the ancient artwork that we've come across, did we just come across someone's comic strip? Is this the way old comic strips were done? Were just someone would draw their ideas out on a rock and kind of, in the time it would be understood that this is where you find this sort of content. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty compelling actually when you think about it like that, because it really totally means that we probably, the fact that we've taken everything at face value, like, hey, this was a message left for the future. It may not have been that. It may have been just a person putting their ideas out on a template on a rock, and we kind of are maybe looking at some of these things and holding too much value in what it is we're looking at. So that actually makes a lot of sense when you say that. I don't know what you think about that, Travis, but
Oh yeah. No, it's like time. It's a rediscovery of time, and that it's like a vision into that part of that experience of this universe. And but yeah, like for Native people, like we did do a little bit of like similar thing to tapestry, but it was like on the back of like buffalo hides, and we'd actually like because our people are very artistic, and they use a lot of natural paints and a lot of natural dyes and from the flowers and from all sorts of kind of pigments that they were able to discover in the land. And
If I may just interject for a second,
but
Travis talking about using natural pigments and dyes from the land, that's something that's terribly underlooked, because there are people who are talented that can do that. And it's still hard to find talent that can take natural materials and make colors to paint or use for art. Anyways, go ahead, Travis. I apologize for cutting you off.
yeah, and like over the years, there's been like a few of these buffalo hides that have been saved. Like Sitting Bull was one who documented his life, like right from his father and his mother, and then down to like his like I should say, he documented his whole family, and then he documented how his first hunt went, and his father dying, is like like his family lineage, and then to his like rise and all the battles he was in, and his hunting, and then there was other tribes that actually kept a lot of these different kind of buffalo hide tapestries, but they were more or less like star charts. So every year, if there was like a big event that happened, say if there was a meteor shower or something, they'd be painting meteor showers that year. And they used to go back for they date back like thousands of years too. A lot of these old buffalo hides that have these information on them, and it's pretty cool. Like because if there was something interesting, or the aliens came down or something, they'll have all these like star visitors and different kind of pictures on them, and yeah, so like over like it just depends on how the information, like what you're finding, like what Filth was saying, right? Like it could be people might look at it like, is this a comic, or is this like groundbreaking information, or is this like passing forward historic information, or right, like yeah, so when it comes down to people finding things in the future and whatnot, it's definitely going to be like one of the stuff that can survive, right? Like not I don't think there will be too much electronic stuff still in existence, so there'll probably be physical objects and things like that we still find today, like stone and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, anywhere, and I think this will pretty much tell the story. I think if, as human beings, once we start getting out there into the cosmos, I think once we start visiting these other planets and uh, our first, once we stumble upon a past civilization or even one that's currently living, the first line of communication is going to be through imagery. When you think about it, before you can decipher a language and figure out translate a language into your own language, the images are something that are universal, because it depicts what people are seeing. So I just feel like even just like I pointed out with the strip here, if everything went to hell tomorrow, and 5,000 years down the line, some species comes here, or one of the ones that visit us come and they dig this up. For them, that'll be their first look into uh, how the people who created that felt. And it's a very powerful, important thing to me, to be able to have those things that can last the test of time, like images. I don't know if there's anything else that can do that. Language, in some cases, if you can decipher it, but for the most part, it's the imagery that I think ends up being the thing that tells the story. So I'm always in awe of someone who could do this well, because, like I said, I can barely draw a straight line to save my life. So I would never be, if my life was on the line, or the future of humanity was on the line, and it was up to me to draw that image that told the story of our past and kind of the thing we were going to leave behind for the future, it would be a horrible fill. You know what I mean? And so it's just being for you to be able to do that and do it on the fly without any tracing, and it just is something that comes out your fingertips. Like I said, I'm a creative, so I understand how that's not the normal. You know what I mean? To be able to express your ideas the way that you do. So this is definitely a show where we want to point that out because I don't think it really does when we have the verbal conversations about the phenomena, and one of the reasons why I thought to do this was because I've seen people come in the middle of a show that Dave is doing, and then they ask, "What is Filth doing?" Like they always inquire, like, "What is he doing? Why is he on here drawing?" And I think, excuse me, I think what we're talking about here kind of explains the value behind it. You know what I mean? So I don't know where you want to go with that, but that's how I feel about that.
Well, I I actually scribble out a couple ideas. I'm always scribbling drawings, and I take my best four that I have that I scribble out every week, and that's kind of what I go with. So I have everything kind of pre-set up. There's a couple of times where I'll have a specific idea for a guest, but when I originally started, I used to just sit down and then I would scribble a drawing. If you go back like 2022 or something, after around August or something like that, I was usually drawing a lot then. I just kind of sat down and I just drew whatever, but I've been sitting down and taking more charge of what to do to make something a little more interesting, because you could just splatter something onto some paint or some paper, no problem. But to have a consistent idea and a story and everything, people want to see that. And I've always had all these ideas for stories, and I just figured, why the hell not put them all together for everyone to enjoy? I mean, I'm going to draw them anyways. Might as well draw them live. And I'm going to listen to Spaced Out Radio anyways and send Dave pictures of the blob, and it's already going to happen. So why not share it with everybody? And, originally, I remember one of the comments that I had on the show, someone said that the drawings were distracting. So I took the guy. If you're listening, guy that did that back then, good for you. You're going to be immortalized forever. I took his nasty comment and I put that in my accolades for my second book. It'll probably be out by the end of May. But nonetheless, I put that in there, and the quote was, "The drawings are distracting." I love it. When you look at art or anything and it distracts you, that's kind of what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you stop for a second and think about what you're looking at. There's a subject there. You look at the subject. Maybe you don't like it and you carry on. Maybe you're interested in the subject, and then you look a little deeper. And then so once I got my claws in you, and you're looking at my art, that's why there's so much little tiny details and everything. I mean, sometimes I hide Sasquatches in my drawings, and people probably don't even notice them. Look, you can see Sasquatch right there. He's right by the second tree behind the jellyfish.
Yeah.
Perfect
I just
example.
noticed that. Yeah, no, I literally just noticed that.
So, that's what you do. I don't know. If you ever gone fishing, there you go. So that's it. Art is supposed to do that, and it's done that for a long time. You can do a million shows on it, but it's
so. Let me ask you this.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you, and maybe you can finish your point as well. But so if you have someone, because when I look at this, so I don't know if you went to school for this. This is just your natural thing, but I think that at the level that you're at a level where you can teach someone or have someone under you kind of try to explain to them or encourage your up and coming artists to give them the tools or the way that you look at it in order to kind of make that translation. Because like I said, there's people that can draw, But to have also the message come behind the drawing, I think is the part that I don't think people are getting. So a lot of people can draw, but can you translate that message through the drawing? So if you had someone that was coming under you, a young upcoming artist, what would be some of the keys that you would give them, or some of the tips to where that translation happens, where it's more than just the drawing, where it's actually getting that unspoken like message through the art? How would you direct up and coming artists into taking that path?
You can get anything you want off the internet for free. Don't pay for ridiculous schools unless you plan to work at Disney or something. Don't do that. Spend your time drawing the stuff that you like to draw. Find a flavor that you enjoy drawing and work with it. Go with it. It doesn't matter. Maybe you'll get rich, maybe you won't. If you want to get rich, so I suggest a trade. If you want to enjoy your art and your talent that you have, just do what you do, and weird things happen. The universe is weird, everything's weird, and the best thing you can do for your art is just find what you like to do and do that thing. I mean, the most interesting man in the world said that years ago. And that's just what you do. Find what you like to do it, and knock it out of the park. We live in a time where you can monetize all of your artwork. Make a Patreon, buy me a coffee, make a book. Anybody can print a book. And you know what? All people that like it, they'll buy them. People that don't like it won't buy it. And you know what? The bottom line is you're having fun doing what you like to do. And when you have a massive amount of artwork that you've done and you go back and you look at, like, I look at my shelf over, you can't see it. Look at my shelf. I don't know how my house hasn't collapsed in upon itself out of all the artwork and paint and everything that I have here. Travis probably he's probably got like extras, like steel beams under his place for the amount of paintings that he has. They're heavier than paper, so, and the guy's got 10,000 paintings and also like 7 books now. He's going to be fighting Brian Bowden for how many books and paintings are out there, but that's just it. Like, I mean, my advice to anybody who's artistic anyway, music, art, drawing, painting, writing, anything, just do what you do, enjoy doing it, and have fun, and promote yourself the best you can. Maybe you get rich, maybe you don't, but the point is you're still having fun. You get it out there, people can enjoy it. Nobody's got money for anything, doesn't matter. They can still enjoy what you're doing. And if you put your art out there, you might not know it, but I've had people tell me that they enjoy my art and that makes them happy. And it's weird. I've never met these people. I've had weird messages and they're like, "Oh, I love your artwork, blah, blah, blah." Okay, cool. That's really neat to know that I've made somebody's day happier or better or whatever, because I just drew some cartoons that, you know what? Some days I draw cartoons, I'm not happy. I'm grumpy pants. I draw cartoons, I'm not happy with them. And when I'm done and I look at it, I go, I grump about it. And the next day I go and look and people go, "Hey, I really like this," and whatever. And that's weird. And that makes me happy. So, you know what? If you're an artist type of any sort, do what you do, knock it out of the park. You know what you're doing. Just share your stuff to your friends and family. I apologize.
Nah, you're
I'm not
good.
a motivational coach or anything, but that's
That
just
would,
what you do as an artist. Just
there you
keep
go.
doing more and you automatically get better at it. You can't get worse. I mean, Rob G, and if you spent 7 months drawing stickmen, you'd probably end up drawing stickmen with muscles or something. I don't know.
Yeah, right. If I stuck to it, no, you're right. I usually, I try to tackle things that I know I can accomplish. If it seems early on that I can't do it, sometimes I'll know, I'll see the sign, I'll kind of let it go. But I wanted to take that same question over to Travis. So Travis, because with you being a creative as well, and I've said this to you as well, I can appreciate creativity and being able to take your thoughts and manifest them into something physical. And then, also you do your art as well. So if you had somebody that you had under you, an up and coming aspiring artist, and you were trying to articulate to them on how to make it more than art, how to tell the story through the art, what would be some of the suggestions that you would give that up and coming artist?
Oh yes, allow it to flow out and just have fun with it, like Filth was saying. But yeah, when it comes to writing and stuff, like I've rewritten books over and over again until they become better, and I've seen the improvements over the years. And yeah, it's like it is a progress. So practice and be open to just even drawing like a really cool anything, right? Like it could just be it could be just like a cool shop full of magical clothes or something, right? Like but
I've got so much art from Travis of just magical stuff. I can't even keep track of it. The guy's a drawing machine. Okay, I'll shut up. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, thanks, Phil. I really do enjoy like when it comes to like visualizing the worlds and seeing these places, and just like delving deep into them, like what kind of creatures, what kind of like interesting boxes, and what kind of designs are on these boxes, or the rugs, or anything, right? Like the restaurant, like what kind of restaurant is this, or or any just the little dining areas, and all the sort of everything that can be just made like from these worlds, and seeing that, right? And it just seems to once you get into that and lock into that mode, then it just pours on through. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful process. So that's all I got to say. And like making the story, it kind of just it just flows together when you're in that. Because when I was writing the book, all of a sudden, like I said, all this art was just flowing through me. So I was like, this must be a part of this. So I just allowed it to flow with that book. So please, guys.
Yeah, and we want to bring that up too as well, because I know it's the latest book. But and I'll add to what you just said there, because I feel like you know there's a difference between someone who draws and someone who can deliver the message through the drawing. I feel the same way about acting. Like you have actors that act, but then there are some that sell you the role that they're playing. Then you have within music, you have people who understand a melody, but then you have those that understand a melody and can also give you the visual of the story that they're trying to convey and the message they're trying to convey. So there's levels to it in all of these things that we do. And it's always when you see someone who can do that extra thing, who can translate the message through what they're doing, like I stated before, I think that's really the important part of it. The gift is there, because we all have a gift in some way or another, some shape or form. I think we're all gifted. But then to be able to tell a story non-verbally, through just your image that you're creating, is just, for me, so powerful. And then, like I said, connecting it to, how we understand, or how we are trying to understand our own history by looking at pictographs and petroglyphs and geoglyphs and things of that nature, is just that's why it's so important to kind of highlight the art side of ufology, because no one else has done it. No one else has had the conversation. And for those who are more of a visual type of person, who receive information visually, or who are super into art, this helps them. This kind of helps them receive a message that's being put out there. So I think that that's pretty awesome. And let me see here. Okay, just checking the chat here. So what I want to do real quick is, I know a couple people threw some questions in here, and I also want to stop and say thank you for the super chats here, because Puck Elf gave us a super chat. We appreciate that. W. Decker, who stated he really appreciates how Phil tells such rich stories with each piece of art that he creates. Thank you both for this show tonight. So I think that was awesome. Appreciate the support there, W. Decker. And then Vaughn came in and said, "Hey, Filth and Travis, when you come down to E-Town, I'd love to meet you in Filth. Eats and drinks on me, boys. It would be an honor to meet you, Travis." So Vaughn is showing love out there. And then we had Paranormal Pixie Laura, who is stating that she loves the art, loves the thought behind it, and your philosophy. Hugs. And I think that's why it's important for you to interview Phil, because we want to hear that perspective of, what's behind it. Like, we see it, but for a person who, and that's why I pointed out the people that come in mid-show who've never been here, and they'll say, "Well, what is he doing?" And those are people that just don't get it, right? But for a person like me that understands it and appreciates it just on artistry, period, I want other people to also understand it and appreciate it as well. So I think it is important, for you to occasionally step from behind or step in front of the mic and kind of talk about what motivates you. And because that I think that also, for someone listening, a young inspiring artist, whether it's drawing art or art in some other form, can kind of get something from your story and what drives you to do what you do. So I'll turn it over to you on that if you have anything to say on that. You're muted.
Okay. I had to belch earlier. I apologize. I was going to say, if anybody, I'll come on here and talk art and everything like that, but I'm not a UFO historian or whatever, but I do like to, as I said previously, take everything that's the UFO world and put it together and draw cartoons about it, make it a little bit of lighthearted comedy. And I've read a lot of like Garfield and The Far Side and all that stuff, and that stuff kind of contributes to it. As I said previously, Milo Manara, the absolute master of watercolor, things like that, and just other artists. It's always nice to be able to share what I do, and anybody that has any art, drawing, painting, music, anything, just work on it, play with it, do it, share it with everybody. They'll love it. Everybody will love it. And the weird thing about being an artist is when you look at your art, you look at it, you go, "Oh geez," you see all the imperfections that you did, and everybody loves this stuff. And that's something I've had a hard time getting over, is accepting my own art as something that people enjoy. Hey, I mean,
I get it.
Anyways, I'm rambling here. I apologize. So
No, you're doing well. You're doing well, actually, and I get it. It makes total sense. I as an artist myself, I see flaws where other people don't as well. I mean, and it shocks me. Even with this hosting the show, right? I'll walk away from it. I'm always in the moment. I always feel like, was it? And then I'll go back and watch it, and because I'm my own biggest critic, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it actually went pretty good. But even before that, people will say, "Oh yeah, it did good," and I'm just still unsure because I know I should have said this and I didn't say that, and so I'm really picky with mines as well. So I do understand that, Phil. With that being said, I also had a couple more, and Travis, you can chime in right there if you want to, because I'm looking for another question here.
Oh yeah, sure. I was just gonna say, yeah, Filthy kind of took the words right out of my mouth there. I was kind of saying, well, out of my mind, I should say, because it was just about to say, it is like an artist palette, like like the colors when I'm looking at painting, it's just like, but when I'm looking at art in general, it's kind of, sometimes I feel the energy is there for the music, sometimes it is there for the painting, sometimes it is there for drawing, sometimes it is there for writing, and utilizing it in those moments is been the fun and the adventure for most of these projects, and then understanding that sometimes they are part in the same project. Like I was getting a whole bunch of visions of all these different extraterrestrials, and I was drawing them, and I at the time I was just kind of like, I was like, maybe this is going to be something maybe one day, or maybe it won't be. Maybe I'm just doing all these drawings, and then sure enough, most of those drawings did make it into Palladian guidance, and you do see those at the end of the story there at the part of the, I should say, the illustrations and paintings and stuff. But yeah, it is, they all kind of work together and go together.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And I think what I really hope for going outside of this, because like I said, think you can get into the routine of coming to a show to just watch and listen and things of that nature. But I think that being able to stimulate your visual is also something that matters too. And if anything, I would just like for people to walk away kind of taking time to appreciate art for what goes into art, and then trying to maybe spend some time thinking what that artist was trying to convey. What message was that artist trying to convey with that particular piece of art? And I think it just because I think for a lot of people, like I pointed out earlier, a person who just comes in and says, "Oh, well, what is he doing? Why is he drawing?" Like instead of doing that, take time to kind of, tune your frequency into what it is that he's trying to convey. And let me see here. So we had a couple other questions here. So also I didn't get to point out JSCO77, who went ahead and gave us some contributions today. So appreciate your support of Spaced Out Radio. Said this is a great show. Thank you, Filth, for being here and sharing with us. You are a huge part of Spaced Out Radio. Also, you are dad of Blob. And they're
All
gonna
hail
go see
Blob.
If Blob is around, they're gonna do something if you don't show Blob. So let me get to a couple of these. So those were the super chats, and these were some of the other questions here. So this first one was for Travis from Doug Shelby. Um, Doug Shelby asked Travis, "Hey Travis, do your people have, or did they ever have the traditional totem poles? If so, with Bigfoot?"
Yeah, we've done a few of those traditional totem poles, and I believe there is a big man on the one in Jasper. We did set up a few totem poles in Jasper's Banff. There's a area there with like 3 totem poles standing up. But we do put them up in spiritual areas, or areas of like, say if there was like an old like grave site near there or things like that. We'll either Slavics in trees, or we'll put up large. We'll make carvings of totems in that sense and place them up in there. They're around. They're located in the land. A lot of areas are pretty much overgrown, so like they kind of stand in the trees and kind of like in the area, kind of just like because the natural world just kind of grew around it, and overgrowth and things like that and such. But yeah, there's still carvers and people practicing the art and doing all these cool wood carvings across the land and stuff. So it's still out there.
All right, and then we have Puck Elf also asking Travis, can I also just ask what area of the Australia the Cree hail from? Are there Cree in Australia?
No, there wouldn't be any Neo-Wak out there. I'll just say that.
Okay. And then we have Filthy. Doug Shelby wants to ask, hey, Filthy, does the gray alien Stanton know alien Carl?
Okay, the 3 gray aliens are Stanton, Carl, and Alan. And they're based off Carl, Dave's best buddy, who's also a cheapskate, Stanton Freeman, and J. Allen Hynek. That's and to be actually truthfully 100% canon with all my artwork, I believe I have it written down. I haven't mastered it, remembered, but it was Carl Allen Hynek was the alien's name, and I decided to go with that because it's the operator of those 3 single gray aliens because apparently they're operated, and that's the operator's name. And yes, that is the little story behind those 3 gray aliens. And they always try to make a plan to make money. It never works out for them.
All right. And we have a question from Paranormal Pixie asking, Filthy, what's your favorite cryptid, scene, or creature to paint? And then same question for Travis.
My favorite cryptid is the Mothman because the moth is my spiritual animal. I kid you not. I mentioned that. You can even ask little Timmy Senor and Dave Scott. We're standing on Fremont Street. I mentioned that the moth was my spirit animal. Guess what showed up and landed on my chest was a white moth. True story. Anyways, my favorite thing to paint is definitely a forest full of Sasquatch. And all I do is I just draw a forest. There's no drawings. Otherwise, it's just a forest. And people look, they can't try to find a Sasquatch. They'll never find it because I don't draw it in there because you can't see him. And Travis, you're up next, buddy boy.
Yep. So that question goes out to you from Paranormal Pixie. Travis asking, what's your favorite cryptid, scene, or creature to paint?
Oh, it's been excellent process of all these cryptid. But when I go back to the legends and I start to really connect with those visuals, and I start to see into these depictions in these lands and into these legends, I should say, in these tales, and just bringing that to life has probably been the best experience of it all. So I'll just say painting the legends and going along with some of these older traditional stories that has been very enticing and like I should say, spiritually evolving.
All right. And then let's see. Welcome to the show asks, for both of you here, how would our guests visualize frequency? Like, how would you define frequency if you were to explain it to someone else?
You want to go first, Travis, or do you want to let Dirty Filth get in there?
Well, it all depends on frequency, colors, and light. It's sometimes it is just that, and seeing these visuals and allowing them to manifest through this higher energy when you're in these visuals or in this trance, or I should say this when you're in the mode of just straight up drawing, and there's nothing else getting in the way, or you're in the mode of straight up like painting and it's somehow it just channels through and it makes that connection with it, and it will, like I said, it will reveal things to you and show you things like a lot of times we like to think like the art is like it is a reflection of our reality and reflection of who we are, but a lot of times the universe will come through that and actually bring forward these visuals and this and these masterpieces and these things that speak to us, right? So it's very important, whether it be writing or drawing or painting or music. So frequency is just that, and seeing that.
Travis says that, and I couldn't help to agree 1,000,000 Macho Man % more, because I never really was a big frequency vibration guy for a while, and I think it was about 2 years ago I had a weird experience, some mutual friends and everything, and my one friend, she just said, we're going to increase the vibration of everything. I was like, it's all hippie crap. And I've been a spiritual weirdo guy and everything, and I believed a lot of stuff until then, but I just never got that vibration thing. But I felt that night, that experience that night. I felt that, and I had to go back and change how I thought about things. So I would agree with that. And much like going into that trance, it's, unless you experience it, it's difficult to explain, and you can just kind of stumble over words as many times as you want to try to explain it. But unless you have that experience, and it's not like a special club or something. You may have like a translate special experience or something that you just, when you have everything just kind of melts away from you is the best way to explain it. And you just focused on one thing. It could be anything simple as like cutting wood. Maybe that's it. It doesn't have to just be art. But, you know, cutting wood in itself is an art. Doing sewing is an art. Mrs. Filth doing a 10 million needlepoint dragon thing. It's going to take her 10,000 years. If we weren't vampires, she'd never finish the damn thing. So I'm just saying,
I like that.
The trance or focus or whatever you want to call it, that's a special thing. And once I'm not Geraldine Orozco or something who can explain this in better terms, but once you do that, if you got to go back and listen to her, she's the best, the absolute best on that. And she doesn't pay me or in pizza or anything, but she explains it the best. When you can get into a trance and you can take your mind and focus it and work it, you can achieve things that you don't expect to do normally when you just like wake up and you're heading to work, driving and yelling at Edmonton drivers as you're going to work because they're merging lanes wrong and you're throwing bricks back and forth or whatever. But that's just how it goes. I apologize for going.
No, you're right. You're right. And so I guess if I were going to explain frequency, I think a lot of people, I've probably said a lot of times, frequency is for me is like a lane or a channel or the way I feel about it is that like there's a frequency in your artwork, and if someone is tuned into that frequency, then they get it. Like it connects. As soon as someone sees it, they're like, oh yeah, I understand what it is that he's saying here. And then for those who come in on a different frequency, they don't get it. If they tune their frequency into, to match what it is that you're displaying here, then they kind of be like, oh, okay, I get it. So the guy's in the bushes and X, Y, and Z, and that's when it kind of clicks for other people. So with that being said, Jenny Whitebear, I just want to let you know that she says, hello, Filthy, love your work, cracks me up. So she gets joy. Jenny Whitebear gets joy from, and shout out to Jenny Whitebear. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Jenny.
In.
I love you.
And
I absolutely appreciate your support of me, and you're an awesome lady. So
definitely.
Anyway, go ahead.
And then Puck Elf was asking the question. Says, question, Rob, do you think Sideshow Bob on The Simpsons could be a shaved Bigfoot? It's always definitely a weird shaped character. I have to vision Sideshow Bob covered with hair. And I think maybe maybe something weird for sure. I'll say that. Something weird for sure. So with that being said, I know, Phil, you have this video that you sent to me that we can go ahead and take a look at. Now, are you able to come back on the other side of this hour so we can show it? So after this break, are you okay? And Travis, are you able to hang out with us to the other side of the break so you can show the video and kind of talk about it?
Sure, I'd love to.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and pause for the cause and take our second break of the night right here, Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back here with Dirty Phil, man, dropping jewels, and also Travis Musu. So see you guys in just a minute. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, and our fantastic guest, Dirty Fylth, the art man, the man behind all the drawings like the one you see here on the screen, and countless others. And we also have Travis Moostus, who is also joining, and they'll be back with us momentarily. This is perfect time to talk about the Spaced Out Radio trip to Reno. It's coming up here. We got a little over a month left, and we might as well run a commercial for you guys real quick. So if you were unaware, we're going to go ahead and run the commercial that talks about the trip. And if you want to go, make sure you send your request to info@spacedoutradio.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick.
If you love your woo, it's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual SOR Fan Party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada, and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show, you get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldine Orozco, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the SOR Fan Party, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com. Shop there today. And make yourself look good.
You go over to the Spaced Out Radio swag store. We're going to call it the SOR swag shop. Make sure you go ahead and go over there and pick up some swag. We do not have ugly swag, as we are back here with Dirty Filth. So, Filth, I know you sent me over a video of a UFO situation. Was this your own sighting?
Yes, and before we go to the video, most importantly, you can get a Science Blob T-shirt
At the shop? It's on the shop?
It's in there, Science Blob T-shirt.
Oh, okay. Get the Science Blob T-shirt at the SOR swag store. spacedoutradio.com/shop. The Science Blob T-shirt is up there, and maybe we'll get to take a look at it before the end of the show. Okay, that is awesome to know. So, with that being said, Filthy had a UFO sighting. Went ahead and forwarded me the video, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at it,
But
and then I guess
hold on,
Filthy, you
Rob.
could talk about it. Yeah.
Hold on, you got to make sure you put it on mute because there's cursive language.
Ah, got it. Thanks for the heads up. Let me do that right now. Go ahead and mute that. All right. So this is Dirty, and you can narrate it as you need to. Let me bring it up
let's
here.
watch it first, and then I can explain it because you got to watch it first and then get an explanation.
All right. Let me get. We're sharing this tab instead. Okay. So this is the video. Make sure it's up on the stream here. Okay. All right.
Okay, do you
Here
want me
is
to-
the video. Yeah, you
Well,
want
before you push play? Do you want me to just tell you preface to
go
this?
ahead.
This is I believe 2021 February, and we're looking. Excuse me, we're looking west on 156th Street, 92nd A Ave in Edmonton. Can't remember the time. I'm pretty sure it was February 22nd. And my mom, loving mom, if you're listening, gotta make some cabbage rolls for me soon. I love you. Nonetheless, we were looking west, and we're waiting for the traffic. Traffic sucks at the spot, and it looks weird. It doesn't. The video, I zoom in a little bit into the video, and you can kind of see the lights. They blink from the left. There's three of them. It goes the left light, the middle, and then the right light. And I've lived in Edmonton for quite a while. There's no Air One doesn't look like that. The Stars Air Ambulance doesn't look like that. Traffic choppers don't look like that. There's no airplanes that have this light pattern. So when you watch the video, for those of you on YouTube or wherever you're watching on a actual visual side, they kind of appear between. You'll see the video. It's going to be two light posts, and in between the two light posts, you'll see the lights blinking from left to right, 1, 2, 3, left to right, over and over. And there you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
in-
to focus, are we focusing on this part of the
Yeah,
screen? Because I see
in
something
in
here.
between to the left a little bit there.
So it'll be
you'll
between
see
this
them.
post and this post.
Yes, correct. And
Okay.
it's not going to be obvious at first, but I do zoom in. And Rob, I hope you put the silencer kind of on it because there's swearing and stuff.
There
Anyways,
should be, if it's something crazy and anomalous, there should be swearing. That's how you know a real video from a fake video. If there isn't swearing, and then it's not probably real. So let's go ahead and play this here. And here we go.
So I guess I gave you the link of some sort, but I'm kind of filming, and it's right now you're looking between the stop sign and the first set of lights. Yeah, of course, cheesy internet.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Right there. Whoa.
And it just kind of gets crappier from here. I tried my best to
No, that's
to show what I
actually
was doing there,
good.
or trying to capture. So that's pretty much the best that I got.
I'm
After
gonna
that,
take
it's
it
just
back. That's actually really good. Like you got a good strip right here. You can see it moving together. That
and this
line
this
of
wasn't
objects.
reflections from inside the car or anything, because I rolled the window down to get a better look at this, and then I kind of zoom in.
Yeah,
There we go.
right there. Now, I don't see anything flying that close to each other that
Yeah,
would be
it's-
prosaic. It's really close. Did you think it was one big object, or did it seem like individual objects?
I definitely originally thought it was one object. When you go listen to the thing or the video itself, I just said like a blimp or something. That was just what I thought, and all I was thinking was I was trying to just hold my camera steady. I was thinking, okay, I got a decent shot. Got to hold it, not be that guy that gets the like super jittery one. But what did I do? Got the super jittery photo or film, because it happens all the time. I mentioned it before. I've seen the only time I ever seen I've seen a fox twice. The first time was a long time ago when I was a kid, didn't have a camera, but the second time I watched a fox walk from, in Alberta, a lot of the roads, they have like a big ditch on either side, and that's just how they are. Not sure why. Nonetheless, I watched a fox go from there was just one fox, and it walked from the field, it went down, and then it came up and walked across the road. And it was just, if you ever see a fox in life, they're beautiful creatures. And I never, and that time, the second time I seen that fox, I didn't think to bring up my camera. I had a camera handy, but I just went, holy crap, that's a fox. I seen it. And I said, excuse me, I said, well, that's a fox. That's incredible. I just had to watch it. I didn't think to take out my phone. So much like when people see a Sasquatch, or a UFO, they don't. They're not generally not thinking to take out their phone. So
Right.
that's why you never get any good photos of Sasquatch, and also they're always blurry.
So let me ask you this: Did this, because we won't be able to listen to the sound, did this have any sound to it, the objects, or was it silent?
No,
what
it
you
was
could tell?
silent. It was silent, and I was with my mom and her boyfriend, and I said, "Hey, look at the UFO," and that's when we stopped. And if you watch the video, my pal Brett, my mom's boyfriend, he goes, "Oh, hey, people are driving by and they're watching that thing, and there's some swearing, whatever." And that's why I didn't want to say watch it with sound, but it was just strange because, as I said previously, there's no aircraft around Edmonton. I've been here 30 plus years. There's no aircraft around Edmonton that is that size. I know what the size of all the aircrafts are. And so anyways, on top of that, once I finished filming, we turned right on 156th Street where and we went north, which is the rest of the video. And once we went north, I couldn't follow any further. So I phoned my pops. Turner, if you're listening, I love you. I phoned him, and I just said, go out to your front porch, because he lives, okay, so preface, in Edmonton, where I was there, my pops was probably 12 blocks to the east and maybe about 8 or 9 blocks north. So I phoned him and I said, hey, go out to your porch. And where he lives near Glonora School in Edmonton, if you're in Edmonton. And anyways, so he was near Glonora School, and I told him to go out and look. And the best way to explain it, I gotta see if I can see myself in here. Okay, anyway, so he was watching the lights, and they were traveling horizontal to the earth. And he's him and my adopted mom, they said the craft pivoted and the three lights went vertical, and they continued on, and he wasn't able to see them any further. And I also made a report to Ryan Stacy with the Experience Support Association, or I believe that's what it is. I made a report with him. He got back to me. He said that there was some aircraft that had followed it. It went sort of north of Edmonton towards CFB Edmonton King Forces Base, Edmonton. And there were some helicopters that were dispatched, and that was all I really heard of it. That was a long time ago, 2021 or 22, I think. I can't remember. It's been a while, but that's what had happened. And to this day, when I talk to my mom about it, I always like to bug her once in a while. I love my mom. I'm a giant mommy's boy. And I like to bug her. I go, Swindling, hey, remember that time we seen that UFO? And she's like, it just bugs me. It just creeps me out. And it's weird because, excuse me, as a guy that's into UFOs and all that stuff, and, you know, fortunately, my mom's got to deal with it too. And she's been good. She was always cool with it. But when that happened, that's always weirded her out. And so that's why I always think that, you know, my mom's I love my mom to death. She's pretty boring and everything. She likes just pineapple pizza and a clubhouse sandwich when she goes to a restaurant. And that's it. And she watches, like, I don't know, Survivor and Love Island or whatever. And whatever, love her to death. Love you, Swindling. But, you know, for someone to experience that, who's not into it, doesn't care about it, but they still seen it, it affects those people. And so, you know, we go back to what do we do when the UFOs land and everyone tells you stuff is weird? They're probably just going to go back and they're going to go watch Price is Right and everything after a while. They're not going to care. But some of the people that experience this stuff, it's just weird because to see my mom, a person I love, be all weirded out about it, and I'm just excited to have seen this strange thing. But to see my mom be all weirded out about it, and it still bugs her 3-4 years later, it's interesting, and it kind of makes me take a pause on my idea of, well, everybody can just handle it. So,
great point. That's a great point. What do you think about the sighting, Travis?
Oh, that was a beautiful video and great capture. I don't think it was, I think it was done excellent job, and that gave off a great energy, and I was like, yep, that's definitely for sure something there, because I've been in Edmonton myself as well and seen some of the choppers, and you definitely hear it, and you could tell if it's, you know, a chopper or airliner or something like that, and that's definitely, like Filthy said, they're not that size. So that's 100%. I can agree with that. And but yeah, what an excellent time and place for the universe. And thanks for sharing that with us, and I appreciate that. And that's wonderful, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
If I can also say,
yeah,
there was another video that someone mentioned it or commented on that video on YouTube. And they had one, and it was in Collingwood, and it was at the same time, but they were driving through Collingwood, and they never plow the streets there when it's wintry and cold out, typical Edmonton. And they're bouncing around, and this person was filming the same thing, but it was from Collingwood, which nobody here is generally from Edmonton. There's maybe about like 4 of us, but from Collingwood to the Meadowlark area to Glenora, that's a long ways to go for something of that size. And it was weird because I liked and I favorited and I saved that video, but that account, I think it's always really weird. This is what gets cool about it, because, you know, UFO stuff. That account doesn't exist anymore. I can't find that video, and unfortunately I don't know how to save videos off YouTube, but I remember watching that video and they filmed the exact same thing, and it was going by, and we lovingly in Collingwood call them the crack towers because it's Collingwood. So anyways, it was going by those. There's 3 towers there, and they're home to some shady individuals. It's
Okay.
nonetheless, but
Got
it was
it.
going by there, and that was to see somebody else I've never known. I never even talked to this person, and they shared those same patterns of lights. That gives us a little more credential to it being something different, but it's
Yeah.
probably just swamp gas, right? What do I know?
Right. Oh yeah, it's definitely swamp.
I'm not a
gas.
scientist, so
Come on, it can't be anything from out of this world because that's just impossible. Things
It's aliens,
that don't exist in our own reality, it's impossible for those things to exist. I mean, what do you mean, Dirty Filth? No, but then I love how you put it with the with your mother, giving the example of her having the sighting and then the way that she's been kind of sort of affected by it, even if it isn't on the surface, even if it's something like you said, she can maybe go back and watch or go back to her normal daily duties or things that she does, her normal routine. But that thing now is in her mind now. And so whether that activates today or whether a few years down the line, she has a conversation with someone and then that comes back up, or she sees something else that kind of correlates to what she saw before. That's part of that awakening process that, you saw that happen in real time, like someone going through a portion of that awakening process where they have potentially come to the reality that these things are real. I mean, at the very least, I know she's like, it was really weird, and maybe she's not to the those are real UFOs yet, but maybe she is. And you were able to kind of dictate, or you were able to describe like a moment where we see someone from the outside get awakened. And I think that's beautiful because that's what I hope for, and that's what I hope to get when I talk to people or show them things, someone from the outside, that maybe it just is weird. And it okay, that's enough. Let that sit on your mind for a while, and at least you have that. That was the seed. And so that was kind of beautiful the way you were able to kind of paint that. But do you think at this point, like if you had to gauge, I know you haven't talked to her like right now about it, but would you, if you had to gauge at this moment, if she is on the side of believing, or is she now probably right there in the middle, or where do you think she's at with it?
I've talked to my mom about strange things and throughout my life, and as I got older, she's always she, like many people, I can kind of just pry it out of them. But she goes, she's had some, I had a dream Grandpa came and visited me, and I had a dream Grandma was there and everything. And I go, that's part of the phenomenon. My mom's cool. She'll sit there and listen to me talk about this stuff, and she's to be fair, my mom's never been a spiritual, godly, cryptidy person or anything. I have to congratulate her a lot, because when I was a kid, she'd read books to me, like we had these big Looney Tunes books and all these things, and she'd read them to me, and she'd use all the different voices the best she could. And I guess that's kind of where I get a little creativity from too. But she'd read to me every night, and I'd always pick out, like I said, I'd go to school, I'd pick up these books about Bigfoot or aliens or ghosts and things, and she would read those to me before I went to bed. And so she's maybe not just totally a noob or whatever to everything, but some of the stuff she said, where she's, like I said, like I had a dream with like Grandpa, and it was really real. Like, but it was just kind of freaked me out. And I go, yeah, well, swindling, sometimes the dead come to visit you. And I'm not, when I say that, I'm not an expert or anything, and I have to always have an asterisk when I mention what I'm saying. I'm not an expert or anything. I don't have a million experiences and stuff. I don't proclaim to know what these things are that happen, and I've had similar experiences, because, which is interesting, talking about the dead, is I've had experiences. My grandfather had come and visit me as well. And it's on top of everything. I gotta, with like the dream thing, I always remember not always, but I mostly remember my dreams. And when I go to my dreams, I'm always just in like I just live my dream self and my, oh, there's a cat here and there. My dream self and my wake self is basically sort of the same person almost. It's really weird. I live in the same place when I wake up in my dreams. The only difference is my back door is actually where my basement, where I go down to my basement. The back door is there. That's where the screen door opens to go outside. That's pretty much the only difference to my dream self and my normal self. And when I'm dreaming, I can smell, taste, feel everything of my dreams. I've eaten food in my dream. I'll say this. I tell people this all the time. I had a dream. I ate these sour raspberry candies in a dream one time, and they were the most delicious thing in the world. I've never tasted any sour raspberry stuff like that ever again, and it bothers me. And the smells and everything I've had in my dreams and tastes and touches. It's sometimes I go to sleep and I work. I work in my dream. I don't know how, that's the best way I can explain it. I work in my dream and I've woken up tired as hells. And I just go, oh, gee, I must have overworked myself. And, you know, you can think what you want, whatever of it, or maybe people have similar experiences or something along the lines of that. But I'm rambling away here. But the point is, I just to see my mom tell me that, oh, I seen grandpa or something, and then for her to see UFO and it freaks her out, and she's had these experiences, and she's a normie. As I, you know, I'm normie's not a mean term, but she just wants to watch TV, go to work, and that's it. Totally doesn't want to care about the extra bits around us, the phenomena of, you know, there's other beings or something. Like, you know, for someone that just wants to go on a cruise, go to Mexico, whatever, you want to do what you do. I mean, what's going to happen when they go, oh, we got aliens? What do they do? I don't know. I'm rambling away here. You can cut me off whenever. Hit me with a dump button.
When you say that, I'm thinking about what it makes me. What I wonder about that, because when you say that, you know, I look at some of my family members, because I have receipts and I bring them to the table and I'm like, look at this, and I also show other things that are compelling, things that when you see them, you should be able to formulate your own idea that there's something weird going on out here. And then sometimes it's like they don't receive it. It's like they'd rather not receive it. I think maybe it might be more what it is. And it kind of just reminds me, if anybody remembers Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street, they say the best way to fight him is to ignore him, to act like he doesn't exist, right? And then Freddy disappear right before he does something to you. So when I think about that, I think is this the way that people are going about handling the phenomenon? They're just like, hey, if I don't think about it, if I don't, you know, use my brain to give it any life, then it doesn't exist. And then maybe that's kind of, you know, a whole side of this thing where people aren't, it's not that they don't get it, it's just that they rather not get it. You know what I mean? And I don't know how you feel about that, Travis, but you can definitely chime in if you want.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, for them, they want the cool experience. Like, I'm going to be abducted and taken on the ship and brought out to wherever. But reality, most cases, it's taking that adventure within and making that connection with the universe. And I think that's like where a lot of the encounters and a lot of the information is like really at right now, because people are, like I said, it's an like you mentioned, it's an awakening process. So there's a lot of people that have been tuning into that and connecting with it. And I feel like that's part of the first stages of that, readying that connection and that understanding. And for the people that don't want to see it, they are still getting it, whether they like it or not. It's still happening through all the artists and all the creatives. You see it around everywhere you go now. It's almost like it's like it's being thrown in our face everywhere we go now. When I look around, or I see the new things that are being broadcasted or presented out there in media, like I see it taking shape in our world in a brighter way. But for people on their own journey and their own connections, and like I said, it all happens when the universe is when it's meant to, and for those who are open to that and making that connection, and those energies and the higher frequencies, they will connect with you, and you will be, like I said, like these connections and visualizations come through, especially through art and through our creative side, and not only that, but like our spiritual side, intuitive side. And that's a big part about it, is that development and that trust of that of those visualizations and seeing the universe, and like I said, that it almost, like I said, it connects through you and comes to light, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and if you guys could, Filth and Travis, if you could send me in the private chat the links to your books, because I want to make sure we go ahead and bring those up for the audience.
Well, you can just go to Amazon.com and plug in Crypt cartoons.
Let me see if I can.
I guess I can.
Okay,
I'll,
yeah, and then I can bring it up here.
I was just used to plugging it while I'm rambling in cartoons and whatnot while I'm drawing on the show, but now I'm a guest. Bloody hells.
Yeah,
1 second here.
with that.
But I
And
can't,
just want to make sure we highlight that. It's been an awesome conversation today, man. And I'm glad we got Filth on the stage here. Jessica S. has a great idea. And I'm really hoping people have done that. Please stroke and hit that like button if you haven't already done so. This has been a one-of-a-kind show in a look into a side of just life. I'm not wanting to say ufology, just life in general. Where like I said, art, I think, is taken for granted sometimes. Some people just think, they don't really look into the value of what it took to create the art, or even take the time to understand what the art means. And, I just think we were able to actually do that today. So it was a great thing. And let me see. This is Travis's link. So let me make sure I can bring that up. And okay, so I got that one, and we'll bring Filth up here in a moment.
Travis got like 17 books already.
Travis is off to the races right now, man. Every time I look up, Travis has a brand new book. But it's like I said, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Putting a book together is not an easy task. Putting your feelings, translating feelings onto paper isn't easy at all. It really isn't. And I just want people to appreciate that. I mean, that, what goes into the art, Dirty Filth's art, and then any artist that's in your life, anyone who is a creative or has created. And I just feel like, and I'll say this too, I feel like creatives are partially unlocked already as far as being, and seem to be more on the open-minded side of things, because you kind of have a different understanding of some aspects of life, like, understanding that you can create something and turn it into a physical thing. Some people can't even wrap their mind around what that even means. You know what I mean? And I think it's just a very special thing to, and I appreciate other creatives that are able to do the same thing. So I got Travis's link, and Filth, I guess we could bring yours up here. You said it's under Cryptid.
You just plug in Cryptid cartoons.
Okay. On
into
Amazon.
I sent you the link. I'm not sure if that actually works.
Did that go through Facebook? Did you send it, or through
yes,
the private
on Facebook?
Chat? Okay.
Ooh, Facebook. I don't actually have your phone number. It's probably a good thing, because I probably send you cat pictures all day.
That's all good. I see it here. I see it in Messenger.
Like poor Dave. He's trying to sleep. All of a sudden, it's like 3 a.m. Pictures the cats. Here's a blob, Dave. Here's the whiskey, Dave. He's so God.
I enjoy it. But here we go. I'm gonna bring up Travis here. So this is Travis's latest work here. The Mars Bug
Squish those
Wars, the
bugs.
Forgotten Ones. And if you can go ahead and talk about the book and go ahead and let us know about it, Travis.
Oh yeah, so this is a continuation of the Mars Bug Wars, which is like I said, the first installment of the series. It is going to be a series. Like I said, it's a high action packed sci-fi adventure of these Marines, which is the Earth's Galactic Force Marines, and it's like a democratic Earth alliance that has joined together to send this massive Marine force against the bugs, and it's led by this Commander General War Chief T, and he leads the Death Squad. They're renamed. The original name was Dark Squad, but then they ended up getting renamed in this, in the later months to honor their fallen ones, and they wear the skulls on their armor as like I said, as honoring their fallen brothers and the human existence, like our skulls, and it's just like a complete warfare on the Mars against these bug infestations that are just like it's like I said, it's high action packed, and it's tons of fun. It was fun for me to write, and like I said, I've been really enjoying this series, so I'm glad for everyone that has been getting it, because they've been saying it's just been pulling them in, and like they've been just loving it so far. So like a lot of great feedback, and like I said, it was a lot of work, and like just to go from, like you said, Rob, just from something that's like just in the energy to it being in the paper, and then from it going from paper to being in books in front of you and on your shelf, and it's kind of it is it is quite a process, and a fulfilling process that I found for myself, and been quite enjoying that. There it is. Look at that one. Did that back. That's an Arcturian there. Opening up.
Is that one of,
Scoot back a little bit.
what book is that? Let me see. Let me bring that up
That's
here.
actually a painting I had done for Filthy. But that's an
Wow.
Arcturian, high table Arcturian, and they are there opening a portal, and this one would take us back to our dimension, and it's just very, very interesting stuff going on in there. Yeah, all the elements are floating in this portal, and it's just opening up, and it's
Once again, that is perfect, because that, to me, it speaks. I hear that when I look at it. I hear the image speaking to me, and and I could be right on my translation, or I could be wrong, but it definitely, there's an energy that comes off of that definitely resonates with me. And you should probably use that for a book cover or something. That is definitely an awesome, compelling photo there.
Yes,
Let's
and
see.
I do paint all of my book covers, and all of my art, like all of it is part of that. Like, if you see the front cover, I've done that, or you see the images inside, they're all done by me. Like I don't like to use other like AI things or anything like that. I like to keep it genuine and from the heart there, and so it's like it is what it is. So I'm happy that everyone can enjoy it, and thank you so much for sharing that, Filthy. I'm glad to see it again.
Always.
I got that sucker right beside my Castlevania, Map of the Moon, and my Milo Manara stuff. And I also, Travis also made me some nice clay figurines, which
you can show
nobody
those
gets
if
to
you
see unless you hang.
okay. Yeah, you got to come. Okay.
They've got some stuff with them, and I'm not moving them. And also, Travis also does all the maps in his books when he writes in his book, the one that I got, and the rest of them. He's always got maps, and nobody makes maps in their books. They have these fantasy novels. Nobody makes maps anymore. They don't want to pay someone to make maps. You should have maps. People want to see this stuff.
Let me bring that up
And-
here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
So this one,
okay,
Thunder, and then I've done maps.
Rusty Boy's in that one too.
Filthy's characters in this one, so you'll read about
Look
him.
at that beauty. Look at that map.
That is awesome.
That's all.
As heck.
That is hand-drawn quality stuff right there.
That is awesome.
What's wild is people, they don't understand like the level to which I've really went for that map, right? Like it is actually quite a big
Here
map.
we go. I love this stuff. Your camera's not big enough.
Wow.
Look at that. See? That's beautiful.
Like it is
That
quite
is awesome.
quite a full map of everything, right? Like there's, it goes on, and the history of this land is like
Exactly.
intense.
The histories, the
I
stories,
have languages and things I've written for it and everything. It's incredible. But you can find all that. Like this world is like totally in this book. Like all the history, like a lot of the history and the things, the wars and the magic, and it's all in there. Man. It's all in Fort Sudden. You got to check it out.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yes, we can dig it. That's Mars Bug Wars, written by Travis Willier Mustus. But go ahead, Phil.
Oh, I was gonna say my copy of that book is downstairs with all my RPG stuff, with all my miniatures and all the other writings that we've done. Yeah, that's a beauty. Love it.
Make sure you guys go and support Travis on that for sure. Travis is part of the fam. You already know this. And also Dirty Filth, right? So you have your cryptid cartoons, and I want to go ahead and show those too. And we do have those up here on the screen. So if you want to talk about your entry here and kind of promote the book here.
Well, Cryptid Cartoons is the first of 3 volumes because I decided I was going to do 3 because once I did 1, I started the second one, and you can't do just 2 books. You have to do a trilogy. And unfortunately, for myself, I've done a lot of cartoons in the last while, so I will be also, I'm putting together my 3rd book while I'm finishing my 2nd book. I'm doing my best John Russell impression here, trying to do like 70 books at once. The guy's like 9. You know what? He owns a first edition copy of the Necronomicon, so and he has like a motorbike that would make Ghost Rider blush. So, anyways, I'm finishing this. The 2nd book is basically done. I just got to do a little tweakings and everything, and I'm working on the 3rd book, and it's basically all going to be available through Amazon. I had to put my actual name on there. Klaus Meidner. Had to use a fake back name for it, but nonetheless, it's all there. Basically, what it is it's a bunch of cartoons that I had done originally. The first book is all cartoons I'd done originally for Spaced Out Radio and Dave from about 2018, 19 to 2021-ish. The second book goes from 2021 to 2023. And the new book, I'm just slaughtered with all this stuff because it just seems to keep happening, and I keep drawing cartoons, and somebody's going to stop me. So it's just never ending. Basically, all the cartoons are about topical UFO things, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and eventually I'm going to get, after the 3rd book. To be honest, I was going to do a quintet, which is 4 books, which I still might do because Bob Salvatore did a quintet. And, I always admire his writing. I might do that. But, Steven Erikson and Ian Esselmont did 12 books for the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So I might have to do 12 books and figure it out. But nonetheless, I'm going to work on a couple short comics. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I have something in the works possibly for an animated series, maybe, possibly. Anyways.
Well, I think that's awesome, Phil. And one thing I was going to point out here is I was reading the description of the book there, and it says, for the last few years, people around the world and even their governments have become increasingly interested in the phenomena that exist around us. This book covers many of those subjects filtered through the lens of cartoons. And I think that's actually perfect because that's the reason, and what I've been saying the entire show. Being able to tell a story through the art and that actually encapsulates the whole purpose and meaning for doing the show and talking about the importance of people paying more attention to the art and trying to interpret what it is, the message that's being delivered. So Awesome stuff. You said you're on volume 3. This is volume 1. So is volume 2 also available on Amazon yet?
I'm just finishing it up at my web, which is going to some heathenistic thing in Texas this month. So I don't know, there'll be probably sacrifices and aliens and portals or whatever. But if she comes back, it should be good by May. And then that'll be done. And then I'll also have the fourth calendar will be ready by October.
And
So
are
we can
you
get a
going
calendar.
to Reno?
Unfortunately, no. I've had some terrible things happen,
Okay,
and I
for
won't
sure.
be able to do that. Bunch of family stuff. That's all I can say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you will be
However-
missed there.
However, there will be a pile of my artwork sent out there with Dave,
Yes. Okay.
and he will distribute it to everybody.
Awesome stuff. That's what I wanted to know. And then Travis, how about you? You coming out to Reno?
Sorry. Yeah. If things could line up, that'd be amazing. As for the moment, I'm open for plans and things, but yeah, like I said, if things work out, that'd be great. But yeah, at the moment, I don't have anything kind of like lined up for it. But if things do work out, then yeah, I would love to come. But at the moment, I can't say that I'm gonna make it right now.
Yeah. No, understandable. But we want to make sure that we incorporate your spirit and your feeling there. So as like Filth is doing, send some stuff over there. Maybe Dave can give away in a swag bag or something, like a copy of a photo or something like that. That might be nice.
However, the next one, Rob, I will be there for sure.
Yeah, we're going to have these more often, more frequently too, according to Dave. We're going to try to do these more than once a year and in different locations. Some places are more convenient for other people, and it's understandable. This is a big world. A lot of these people are overseas and can't even make it here to the United States for starters. So what I wanted to do is still make sure that you guys are involved. So we want you guys there in Reno, but if you can't get there, let's set up a Spaced Out Radio watch party or something at home. Get a few friends together maybe and watch the Friday when we do the live show, and let's like involve you guys with the live show for those who couldn't be there as well. And I don't want to make it seem like we're looking down on you if you can't come. No, it's totally understandable. Life happens, and it's not feasible all the time. So as long as you're there in spirit, then we'll appreciate that as well. And we will live life vicariously through those who are able to make it and kind of go from there. But what I want to do is I want to thank you, Phil, for coming on in. It was cool to break the ice with you and to get into this part, talking about the art side of this, because I don't think anyone's ever done it. This may be a first here. And I appreciate you getting comfortable enough to open up and talk to the people. I know everyone else out here appreciates it. Travis, you too, being able to come in and give your angle on the whole artistic side of this and relaying the message through art. I think you guys did something really important tonight. And now that we've broken the ice, Filth, we got to have you do this again. Just come on anytime. You already know you got the keys to the back door. So you could come on in on any of these weekend shows and just join the conversation or hop on at any time. Please do so. And you guys already know Travis is usually here on a Sunday to deliver the paranormal report. So we're going to do this again going forward. So anything you guys want to say to the audience before I wrap things up?
Pineapple goes on pizza.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Dave Scott.
I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for if you do get the books and supporting the artistic endeavors and visions, and it's been fun in creating these wonderful tales and helping go through processes and being part of this this creative force that's going on right now. But I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I really do appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the books out there and all the paintings and things that I've been producing out there for the world. And thank you so much once again.
Awesome stuff. Well, appreciate you, Travis. Appreciate you, Phil. Thanks for coming on in. Everybody appreciates it as well. We will be talking again soon. Great job, Filth. Great job, Filth. Hold on, let me get out my freaking applause, man, because we definitely appreciate you sharing your feelings, which I know you don't get to do often. I know you chime in every once in a while, but it was awesome to just hear Filth shooting the stuff, as we'll say. But with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for coming through, and we will talk again soon.
Hold on a second here. Rob.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Then we got fucking bloody hell.
You're good. Go.
I'm sorry,
go,
Dave.
Go.
Oh, geez. I went for the last 6 minutes and I dropped it. Bloody hells. I think we got like 6 minutes here. So
you want
to? 5.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so hang out then. So here's what I have to do with the audience. Hang out, or go ahead and say what you're going to say right now. But yeah, you guys can definitely hang out till the end. Let's do it.
I figure we're going to the top of the hour here. So
yeah,
anyways,
no, you're fine.
I appreciate everybody that likes my cartoons and comes and listens to Spaced Out Radio. I've been a part of Spaced Out Radio for quite a while, and I appreciate that Dave has given me a place to share my cartoons. Otherwise, I would never be able to share what I draw with anybody whatsoever. And I've met a lot of weirdos and creeps and cryptids and strange people. And I've met a couple of CIA guys and everything hanging out via this stuff. Unfortunately, as I said previously, I can't make it to Reno. So I can get the teleporter. Or if I somehow come across a whole bunch of cash from a dead body or an airplane explodes or something, but nonetheless, it's going to be a pile of artwork there for you guys. I'll be at the next one, and most importantly, I appreciate everybody that shows up, watches the show, listens to the people. I kind of have a little bit of pull to bring people in. Sometimes I book them, and I just appreciate everybody's love and support. And yeah. Thanks for coming out and watching me draw cartoons. Thanks for hanging out with us on the weekends. Travis is awesome. Rob's awesome. Jessica's a beast. Love her to death. She's actually really cool in person. And you know what? Everybody that I've met through Spaced Out Radio and all the chat rooms and all the everything like that, I appreciate every one of you. I can't get to everyone when I see you in the chat, and I wish I could. But when I see you guys talking to me, I love it. It gives me the guff to draw my cartoons while I'm drawing them on the show. And aside from my one horrible swear, I think I did a pretty good job tonight. I'll come back anytime you want.
Yeah. Go ahead, Travis.
I just wanted to say, hey, you know what? It's funny that you're bringing this up, but yeah, thanks, Dirty Filth, for giving me the call, because I was on set a few years back, and then I get a call from Dirty Filth, and he's like, "Yeah, me and Dave would like you to come on the show and do an interview with us later tonight if you're willing to." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm there. You know, count me in." And sure enough, like later that night, I was there and on the show, right? So thanks for inviting me on here once again here to Dirty Filth, and Rob G for having me on throughout the hours here. And it was a pleasure, man. Great to meet.
We've traded artwork and we've met in person, and
yeah.
I wish you were here. I'd give you a great big hug, and we could probably go outside for a talkativeness afterwards or something and whatnot.
Denied.
I love you, man. Travis is
awesome.
A good guy.
That is awesome. I mean, it's you guys are now spreading the love, man, and now I got to say something that resonates with the heart and the mind. So, I appreciate everything you do, and I did this show because I really wanted to highlight, and I don't know if people tell you in your day-to-day life. I know I catch it occasionally, but how important you are to the whole dynamic of Spaced Out Radio. Like, once people get in here and they understand what it is that you're doing here, they all love you. And it's been, I'm surprised that you haven't spoken until now, but I'm also grateful on the other side that you took the time to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna give this a shot with Rob. I think we could have an awesome conversation. And I was glad to be the one to go ahead and bring that to the people. I know they wanted it. And I know this is for you opening up and being able to talk. And we've talked, it's been 2 hours, 3 hours that you've gotten comfortable. I feel that you have gotten comfortable. So I really hope to hear more from you going in the future. And Travis, you already know I give you praise all the time. The knowledge that you bring to the table and your connection with the elders and being ingrained into what I feel like is really what humanity is all about and where we should stay connected to. So I look up to you guys for those reasons, and glad that we could sit here and do this show, man. So that's my little wah, my little emotional diatribe for the night. So if you have anything you want to leave with, Travis, so we'll do that.
Yeah, you know what? It's been fun, coming on these shows, and you and Dave there are great hosts, and I couldn't ask for anything better. And I wouldn't have this platform to share all this wonderful experience of life. And I came on originally just with the intention of setting a lot of these things straight and getting a lot of the points of view across and some of the teachings. And so this has been a wonderful experience for me, doing all these shows and being welcomed on, and getting the opportunity to speak these truths and share some of this art that I do and things that I do. And it's been a pleasure, Rob, and Dirty Filth, man. It's great. It's great to have you as a great friend, and we'll probably do some projects here in the future. I could see that.
All right. Last word, Filth. You got the last word.
Remain dauntless.
Remain dauntless. Okay, I got that. And point taken. So with that being said, yeah, I would definitely, I was want to make sure that, I didn't keep you over time, but if you were willing to stay to the end of the hour, that works for me and it's totally awesome. So what I want to do is go ahead. We have like 2 minutes here. I want to thank, first of all, our guests, but also everyone who showed up tonight. I do appreciate you guys coming on in. Like I say at the beginning of the show, it just isn't something we say. None of this happens without you guys showing up and participating and being part of the conversation. So I'm glad we get to do this every weekend. It seems like time flies. It seems like tomorrow we'll be right back here doing the same thing again. And I get a lot of great feelings from doing it, because I think the conversations that we have move the needle in one way or another. And I think focusing on this part of the conversation, I think has done that tonight. So people who watch this on Team Rewatch, I appreciate you guys coming in and participating as well. Outside of that, I do want to thank our super chatters for the night that went ahead and showed us some love and support of Spaced Out Radio, which is going to be Puck Elf. Appreciate you. W. Decker, once again, thank you. Vaughn, thank you for your support. Appreciate you. Paranormal Pixie Laura, appreciate you. JSCO77, appreciate your support. David S. saying the Filthy Pizza Fund, appreciate you dropping that in. And then welcome to the show. Appreciate you for your support. So with that being said, to all of our viewers and listeners across the globe, thank you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what is that, you guys ask? We own the night. Thanks for coming in. You guys have a great rest of your night. Make sure you're here for David Scott tomorrow, Monday through Friday, and then we'll be right back here on Saturday doing it all over again. You guys have a great rest of your night. Have a great week. The energy is out to you. And you guys take care.